All right. Good evening. Going to call the meeting to order and Pledge of Allegiance right now. Any agenda adjustment?
Nope.
No?
Good to go.
All right. Consideration of the minutes. We don't have any. Don't have any for last week? Did I miss that? No. Okay. That was it a workshop? No, it was a regular meeting, but it's next week. Then this is the off meeting. Got it. Okay, that brings us straight through then to, well, we have public comment. I don't see anybody. I don't want to just skip it, but okay.
Anybody want to
Nobody?
get up and talk? Anybody?
And no petitions or communications.
No.
Okay. Then we're right down through to our old business. So we're going to begin this evening with reviewing the articles or the cost centers for, well, we have the capital improvement plan as well. So we'll start with that 6.1.
Yeah. So we'll go right through. We've got a nice presentation set aside for everyone. You should have that in your packet, and we'll have it up for the streaming portion of our meeting this evening. And I'll just rattle off the numbers as we go through the slides, if that's helpful for everyone, just so that you know where I am, and that works. Okay, great. So just, obviously, like, I think this is the fourth installment. I had to, check. I was like, how many times have we met for the budget? It feels like a lot, but 4 times so far, which is great. So this is the fourth meeting for our budget workshop for this school year. And on slide number 2, you'll see our discussion points for this evening. So just going through those quickly, we have our data requests from 3. No, we're just doing it online. Yeah, okay. You got it, Diane. No worries. First point of business is to review data requests from last week. We do have some updated information regarding our general fund expenditures that we want to make sure that you're aware of. Number 3 is our capital improvement plan. Number 4, adult education. Number 5, school nutrition. And last but not least, number 6 is our ED 279 and revenue sources. Any questions about any of those items there, gang? If not, we'll just keep it rolling. Okay. All right. Slide number 5. Wait, no. 3. There we go. Slide number 3, data requests from last time. Slide number 4, so there were 4, actually there were 6, almost I think 7 data requests total. We do have information for all of those, with the actually 8. I want to say there was 8, but we'll talk through those in just a minute here, just to let you guys know where we're at with those. Okay, so the data requests from last week were questions around board member compensation and PFML. There was whether digital or paper was a preference as far as receiving and submitting information, so that was done in a survey. Maintenance travel reimbursement, there was an ask for us to look at the actuals and adjust if needed for mileage in particular. There was a request in regards to the breakdown for the SRO contract, along with a request for SRO feedback as far as how well the position is going in the school district. Additionally, we had a question about whether MSMA dues were required by law. So we have some information there. And then I also have some information around our budget in comparison to budgets around us, just the comparisons between where we stand with our year-over-year budget and also our tax increase to the towns.
So this wasn't a data request that came up at the 311 board meeting, but Teresa reached out after the meeting and just inquired about this. So what we prepared was just between Marco and his superintendent's group and me and my finance listserv, we have 27 different SAUs that have given this information. However, each of them are in a different place with their budget presentation to their board. So we've just did some aggregate data from that group of 27. So we just wanted to share that in response to Teresa's request. Did you want me to just go over those numbers?
I mean, you might as well while we're on it. Yeah.
Right.
Why don't you go do that,
Yeah,
Sam,
and then
and
we'll
then I'll
get
start
into
from
yeah.
the beginning and ask,
Perfect.
give some explanation and answer any questions that you might have. There isn't a handout for the information. I'm sorry, I apologize. You guys are looking for it. There's not a handout per se for that information, just given the fact that we didn't want to, give away information that may not be public for some of these school districts. So, as Sam said, we did an aggregate comparison.
Yeah,
Go ahead,
so
Sam.
the data points that were solicited with those two groups were the percent increase to the budget year over year and then the estimated tax impact year over year. So looking at those 27 SAUs that submitted, year over year increases ranged from a minimum of 1.10 to 12.39% on the first read of the budget. So it's a pretty substantial span. And the average of those year over year increases was 5.11. So we're looking pretty good comparable to that group as far as where our initial read is coming in. And then the estimated tax increase based on those budgetary increases ranged from a minimum of 1.44 to a maximum of 17.5 with an average of 7.95. And we'll get into where we landed as we look at the last item today as far as revenue for assessments to towns.
Great. Appreciate that information, Sam. So we'll just go right back through those data requests that I started with. So board member compensation and PFML. So it is required by law that we do pay you guys for the time that you are working here at the board, and also our PFML contributions. We have to pay those too on your behalf. So unfortunately, there isn't necessarily a savings there. I don't know if you wanted to add anything to that.
Sure. Just in your hard copy documents tonight, you have the presentation, but then the second packet is the hard copy of the data request. So I synthesized this one to just a one-pager that has the pertinent information about the compensatory payment for board members per meeting, and also our statutory obligation to pay at least 50% of the PFML premium for eligible employees. But the full statute language is linked in the digital folder, so you have that full reference later if you want, but I only pulled out the relevant language for that. But the rest of those data requests should be in that packet, the second packet you have.
Any questions about that one, guys? Just about board member compensation, PFML. The next one was digital communications feedback, and so we want to thank Stephanie for putting this together quickly on your behalf. Just sent out a survey to the school district in regards to digital versus paper. We provided, all of the responses for you. I mean, obviously, it's very. It was done very quickly as far as a turnaround is concerned. So there aren't a ton of responses when we think about 1,200 students in a school district and their associated families responding to this. We received 114 responses, right? So it's very minimal as far as the number of responses. But again, it was a quick turnaround. But at least it gives you some information to look through in regards to, who's responding, why they would prefer paper or digital, and then, basically, do you have a preference one way or the other? And I know we talked about this, Scott, just thinking about the postage and the P.O. box in particular, but just, if you were to support digital forms to save on postage and printing, I feel like those might be like the areas where things kind of filter down and give us an idea of, like, I don't want to say preference, but preference to a certain extent between digital and paper. But then there are a large number of comments, or 17 of them, comments that people put in there in regards to, and it could be that they like paper for some things and digital for others. You know, they would like to have consistency, things of that nature. You know, things being optional, like if they don't have the ability to get something digitally, would we provide it as far as a paper copy, which obviously we would do that. But just again, a quick snapshot for you in regards to paper versus digital. And I mean, obviously, you guys can take more time if you need to, you know, in looking at that information. It's no issue whatsoever. And happy to try to answer any questions or that you may have.
I may need new glasses, but can you tell me I can't see the difference on the colors of the
Pie
preferred
chart.
and not preferred.
Yeah.
I assume they're overwhelmingly, like,
I can't either.
the grays look the exact same.
What is it? It's a paler shade of gray. Is that what it
Is
is?
it
really? Yeah. No, I'm just kidding, Scott. I'm just kidding.
But
Yeah, that would have been helpful. You're
are
absolutely
they,
right.
But I'm assuming they're weighted in favor of digital.
That's correct. Yes. Yeah. I'm glad you said something, because I look at it and I had seen it in color, right? So like it's like, yeah, but obviously if you don't, yes, that's correct. So preferring digital is 64%, preferring paper is 12.3%, and no preference is 23.7%. And then as far as the yes, no, maybe, the yes is 87.7. I think the no is that smaller sliver, and then the maybe is 10.5%.
And I will make sure that the digital copy is in color. That goes into
I
the
guess
folder.
my thought behind all of that when I just brought that up in discussion was at the beginning of the year putting out an opt-out, paperless form. So that way, if you still decided you wanted to get paper in the mail, you would have that opportunity. But based on those numbers, it may save pretty large amount of money off the postage budget and paper.
Yeah.
Right.
Oh, absolutely.
Printing.
Absolutely, and I think that's where that e-collect program will come in huge next year in regards to like updating paperwork. And I think I've said this to you guys before. It may have been even last week. Just I've done that with my own kids in the school district that they attend. Just like that's how we do it, is digitally. At the same time, I'm sure if I needed a paper form, it wouldn't be an issue at all. So, but I think you're right, Scott, and I appreciate that. The question about the graph, that's a good one.
Sorry.
No, don't apologize. It's great. Any other questions in regards to the survey, you guys?
I think reading the responses is good as well.
I
'Cause
agree.
There's some information in there that's not in the.
That's correct.
the graph.
Well, that's why it's good to have the comments in there. Just
Yeah.
because, right? Like just because you're clicking a button, you may not have. You may have more that you want to say, which is why we included that for your review. Maintenance, travel, and reimbursement. You'll see this also on there, gang. That's in the packet. So Sean took a look at the mileage between the two buildings, or the buildings themselves, and so you'll see a difference there. And that's what he's proposing here in regards to what the total was to what his suggested total would be now. And that aligns more with actuals than anything else. Just something that we would want to make you guys aware of is that the minimal savings that's there, we'd want to make sure that we keep that within his department for repairs and maintenance. So we would shift that money over to repairs and maintenance, because that's an area that we can always use that money. So just so it also gives you some further information as to like why they might be going for mileage. But again, the adjustment was there to make sure that at least for the mileage aspects of things, it's been reflected to be more in the way of actuals than anything else.
Could I add real quick?
Of course you can.
I mean, this is just travel reimbursement for one department, but we saw that in other departments earlier on in the budget presentation. So I don't want them to feel like we're singling them out, because it was in other areas as well. So I don't know if you guys had an opportunity to look at those also, and just to verify that that information was accurate too.
Yeah, I appreciate that, Scott. And so we can take a look at that. That's not an issue. But it's good. I mean, I appreciate you saying that. I don't think anybody's feeling like you're targeting one group. Do you know what I mean? It's the mileage is what the question really is about. I gotcha. Any other questions in regards to the maintenance travel reimbursement, gang? No? All right. Moving on to the SRO contract breakdown. You guys will see a comparison. Between fiscal year 26 and fiscal year 27, and the differences between all of the different categories. Just as you guys know, this is something that is not necessarily in our control as far as the negotiations between the Androscoggin County Sheriff's and a department itself and their associated union. But there was a question about the breakdown and how that works, and so you can see the differences between each and the things that are there as far as uniform allowance, cell phone, annual vehicle fees, so on and so forth. So it's all broken down for you. And then just, I won't move off of this topic, but just also included in there, I did ask for feedback. That was another ask in regards from the administrative team that work closely with the SRO and the impact. And, generally speaking, it was extremely positive, just his, approach, demeanor, the importance of the position itself. And so that information's there too. That's anecdotal more than anything else. There's a summary page, and then you can see each of the administrators, principals, and assistant principals primarily responding with their own comments. So take a minute to look at that, and then we could talk further if need be.
Did we get what it will be in the next 2 years of their contract, the following 2 years?
I bet we can find that out. Yeah, thanks for that, Nicole. That's good. Just any questions in regards to the SRO, gang?
Reading this doesn't really portray what I'm feeling, but I knew this was coming up in tonight's meeting, so just this morning I asked my daughter, about the SRO at the middle school, and she said, who? It's like the resource officer, the sheriff. I don't know who that is, was the response I got. I'm not seeing, I guess, I never see the vehicle there. I don't see a presence there. She doesn't even know that they have one there. So I don't know. I guess I would like to see more early intervention. I feel like if he was there doing some preventative things, drug awareness, internet safety things, stuff like that with the kids, that only helps your job when they get to high school age, because you're intervening in some of that stuff ahead of time. And I feel like we're paying a lot of money for this. We should probably get the best out of it. I understand the important role he has at the high school, but I would like to see more early intervention at the middle school level, and even earlier. I think Carrie Richter and Libby Tozier would benefit from a presence there. Even if it's once a month, you go to an assembly or something. That's
Yeah, and I appreciate that, Scott. It may be, for students that aren't necessarily being worked with directly with the SRO, that they're not necessarily aware. I will say that, at the beginning of the school year, the SRO was involved with, a dodgeball game, with the middle school students, involved in, and I know like high school wise out on the football field doing cheers and things like that. But even working with, students at both Libby Tozier and Carrie Ricker, being there and present. And, it's a little bit different role, obviously, right, with those younger students. but the importance of having that person to be able to do some of those really difficult aspects of our some of the situations people are in is invaluable in my mind. I mean, I hear you 100% in regards to being more visible, and I don't think that's an issue at all. I think if more than anything else, where the position's new, or I would say it's a return to us this past year, and it's his first year, it's getting settled and really, I don't know, working on relationship building, especially at the high school level, to start, and I'd also say like that wasn't necessarily the charge. Do you know what I mean? For me, in the sense of like you need to be making sure that you're making the rounds. It was really like get your feet wet, learn the school district, learn the kids, and we can go from there. But I mean I understand 100% what you're talking about. I mean I think like you said, it only helps moving forward if you're visible.
Right. If you build the relationship when they're 5th grade, you know who they are all the way through high school. And I mean, kids can change. I am happy she doesn't know who he is to kind of, you know what I mean? But at the same time, like, kids can change and things can happen, especially like internet safety and being exposed to drugs and alcohol and these things. Like, planting that seed early on, I think would be...
Yeah, I was just going to say, thinking about like the collaboration, right? So like where Sheena, with transportation has been working with the SRO in regards to bus safety, right? So you're talking the same thing where he could be working with Stephanie about internet safety, right? And I say that in the sense because he is working with individual students that unfortunately these things come up. I understand it's more like the preventative aspect than the reactive aspect, right? So I completely hear that. But, having those conversations with and it's like, this is something that you've done. You need to know what could happen, if this were to move forward, or what's legally what could be a problem for you. But I hear you.
Yeah, I mean, I come from the officer-friendly generation. Okay?
You and me both, brother.
We
yeah.
had McGruff, the crime dog, in school, so.
Yeah, right. This is your brain
made
on
an impact
drugs.
on me personally, but it may have helped some kids.
Dare.
I love
We
it.
all remember
We
Dare.
we do remember. Yeah, just say no to drugs. That's what it
Yeah.
was. Yeah. I'm sorry. Well, we're reminiscing here.
No, I just
Go ahead,
like
Robbie.
I'd just like to say I have been around long enough to remember Dare, and the officer would go right into the classroom and he would discuss, problems and stuff like that, and that's how the kids got to know him. He would come in the classrooms, even at an assembly, he would, talk for 10 or 15 minutes, and, everybody in the school got to know that officer. So I think that's pretty important that he gets around and does that,
Yep.
I'm not
FaceTime.
saying he has to, teach a legitimate class, but he could come in and talk about, problems and the things that, kids are running into today, like the internet and stuff like that, and let kids know that he's at least there.
Like the director of technology coming in and doing something about internet safety is fantastic. Don't get me wrong. Or bus safety, right? Like you got the director of transportation to do that. But when it comes from a figure of authority, I think that the message is different.
Yeah. It's like, well, that's why the hope is like in tandem, right? Now you have both sides of it. Not only am I here to educate, on this aspect, like maybe school wide or what digital footprint it might look like, but then from the legal side of things, this is what it would look like. I appreciate that, you guys.
I think to summarize, I think what I'm looking for with this investment is for our students to know that there's another caring adult outside of their teachers and the other people in the building. And if they can't identify him, how would they go to him if they needed help? Or if he comes to speak to them, I wouldn't want it to be fearful. And I'm not sure that exists right now. I also want to recognize that he's only been in our district for 100
This 1 year.
whatever days we're
Yeah.
at. So this could be opportunity for improvement.
Absolutely.
And it's not him as a
No,
SRO.
no,
We're talking
no.
about the position.
The position, absolutely.
And
I
I
gotcha.
it is a lot of money. I think it's worthwhile. But I think we would want to see kind of that elevated increase of connection with students rather than just somebody that's coming in as an authority figure, if that makes sense.
Absolutely, it does. Yeah. I appreciate the feedback, you guys. It's good. Thanks for helping out.
Yep, and I think we need to make sure too, right, that we are investing a lot of funds in that role, and also it's year round, so make sure that we have a plan for summer.
Well said.
Anybody else?
All right, we'll keep it rolling with other data requests. There was one other. I think that we've covered most of these, with the exception of the transportation one, which we're continuing to gather information on. That was for the vans. Do you guys remember the?
Oh, yes.
Yep. Just. Oh yeah. So that one. No, it's all good.
Oh, can we real quick? Sorry.
Of course,
Can we
yeah.
Just go back to the beginning about the compensation.
Yes.
There's not a minimum as far as like minimum compensation to avoid the.
PFMO.
Yeah, like it's such a small amount of reimbursement. There's not like a legal loophole to get out of it. Or it just seems like
Only if you're a congressman, or like the state reps.
yeah.
I think they did exclude themselves, right? Okay, I'm not making that up.
Oh,
They excluded themselves. Yes, they did. Yeah, and they're not
You would
congressmen.
think as
They're
an
House
elected board
representatives.
that would fall under the same
There,
legal.
there's been mixed feedback on that, Scott. So if you ask one group at a certain time when PFML was rolling out, they would have said, nope, it doesn't apply to board members. They're honorarium. They're not true employees. Just the same way that unemployment doesn't apply to you. But then that shifted, and the comment now from most circles is that it should apply. If you are earning a wage, it applies.
I mean, we could always reimburse you too.
I do like the. Can
Or
you
that
find a
PFMO.
legal workaround request?
Everything. There are legal loopholes everywhere.
It's like,
Everywhere.
but it's more stipend position, is it not? Than it's.
It
not.
is.
We apply PFML to all the stipends as well.
No, it's what's great though is I appreciate the ask, right? Because it just helps. I mean, for me in particular, I mean, Sam knows more than I do, so it's like, it just means I'm learning from it. So I appreciate the ask. It's good. All right, just last one was the Maine School Management Association or Maine School Board Association dues, and if we needed to pay those by law. So I contacted the executive director, or one of the executive directors. He let me know that no, it is not required by law. However, to utilize some of the services that we do have through the Maine School Board Association, so things like workers' compensation and unemployment, which are the two that go through that, we have to pay those dues. So no, it's not required by law, but if you're going to be using unemployment and workers' compensation through them, you need to pay the dues. So we need to pay the dues. It's like, does it make sense? Does that make sense to you guys? Right,
Yeah,
you
if
got
we-
it.
right.
I could have said it that way, Christy. That would have been nice.
Who's using the?
Unemployment and workers' comp.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's a Sam question.
It's the required
Yeah,
insurance that we have to pay.
We pay in for both of those insurance products so that if we have an employee that gets hurt with a workplace injury, workers' comp, the administration of workers' comp runs through MSMA, and we have that insurance that provides paid leave and medical care for workplace injuries. And then unemployment, same thing. If we have, an employee that we terminate employment for whatever reason, if they elect to go and get unemployment, then we're getting charged for that, but it goes through our unemployment payments that we're making.
I was just
Yeah.
making sure it wasn't just board members.
Yeah, no.
Oh, no. No, in
It's
fact,
for you, Matt,
as-
if you need it.
That
Yeah,
we can't
you'll-
use.
you'll see all of those employer expense lines, Matt, as we go through the line by line. Anywhere that there's staff, you'll see an unemployment line associated with them. You'll see a workers' comp line associated with them. Okay.
If we lower our wage to $10, would we be paying less in that leave, wouldn't we?
We would.
Yeah, it's percentage based. So if you lower your wage, then yes, we
could.
would.
Mm-hmm.
So from $25 to $10.
Mm-hmm.
But I think it has to go through a process if you're going to make a change to the payment. So it's a pretty protracted process, which we can dig more into the details.
I think
if
only if
that's
there's an
something you'd like.
increase.
Is it just an increase?
I believe so.
and you're
Oh,
at
cool.
the
It also
maximum.
it,
Yeah.
it also doesn't state that you have to accept it. So I would challenge that as well. We have to offer it. You don't have to accept it. Yeah.
The statute is compulsory, so we have
Mm.
to pay you. What you choose to do with it, if you turn around and give me a check as a donation to the school department penny for penny, that you can do. But
Yeah,
we
but
have to
you're
pay it.
still you're still losing out on the taxes and stuff, so you're not really getting a full compensation back.
What would we get, like $8? I mean,
yeah.
I'm going to take your $8 if you give it up.
But we could consider lowering it to minimum, like Teresa said. That's a good idea if you just want to try to.
But how would the percentage? I mean, it's got to be such a small amount. Is it
Pennies,
worth even
right.
doing?
I don't know. We can map it out.
You math it out.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right. I agree.
Well, that's nice, you guys. I appreciate that. We can dig into it some more. You know, like what does it take to lower it, and then,
Mm-hmm.
like I said, like I like that. We have to pay you, but what you do with it is your own. We could what we could do is pass a basket at the beginning of each meeting.
So it's interesting. The statute says it's maximum of 25, but there's other boards that are much higher than that. So how do they?
The municipality ones are higher,
They have to go through a process.
Because it's not an
that
RSU.
falls on
It's
taxpayers.
through the city.
right? This is an RSU statute, not just any board.
Oh.
Yep.
I don't know. Why would it be different?
It is. They get a lot more
Okay.
money.
All right. You guys, fine. All right.
Yeah, we
any-
started early for a reason. Let's go.
Yeah, right. I was going to say, any other questions in regards to that?
Yeah.
And the data requests at hand. Like I said, Teresa did ask for that information regarding the school districts, and we're really in good shape in comparison. In really good shape, which is great. Happy to see that. We'll keep going there. I just want to move on to slide number 5. Thanks, Sam. Slide number 5 is updated general fund expenditures. So we have a couple of things that we wanted to make sure that you guys were aware of. And this slide is associated with, in your packets, paper that says expenditure articles. And there's 11 of them. It says expenditure articles 11. And so we just have some minimal changes there, but just want to make sure you guys are aware of it. So we had omitted a technology request, and it was done in error. So we updated that. We made sure that it was included in the budget. We've upped our sub coverage given what we're predicting for next year. So we've upped that line a bit. And then there was a request from you guys to change some monies from Cost Center 6 to Cost Center 5, and that had to do with your conference fees. You would ask that conference fee number, which I think was maybe $1,300, $1,200 or $1,300, be reduced to pay for one person to attend the conference in the fall. So we left $400 in there and moved the money to where you guys had requested, which was teacher professional development. So we made those changes. And so Sam ran the expenditure articles for you guys to see. I'm sorry? I don't know what you're talking about.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mentioned that.
Yeah.
No, it's okay. When you said increase, I'm like, sublines? What are you talking about? What sublines? Yes, the
Oh.
substitute teachers. I'm like, what, there are sublines in this paper? I'm like, what? We tell me this before the meeting. But anyway, the expenditure articles there, you can see it does change our overall a bit. So we were at 1.42, and now we're at 1.49. So just want to make sure that people are aware of that, okay? Just for those reasons. And you'll see that percentage is at the bottom there, the 1.49.
There was also a data request last meeting to update the technology handout to include the dollar amount for the transfers. So that's been done, and that updated request is in the folder for tonight as well.
Any questions about those changes, gang? Just want to, again, make sure that those are reflected clearly to you guys and give you the opportunity to ask any questions you might have. All right. Oh, sorry, Teresa.
Could you just clarify for me the increase in cost center 3? What was the driving?
Yeah, so Cost Center 3 is career and technical education. So this is the second year that we are paying into Lewiston Regional
Okay.
Technical Center. And that amount is based on a couple of things, an increase in utilities there at the facility in Lewiston, and a new landscaping program. So our contribution went up a little bit from last year, which was the first year that we've contributed.
Thank you for the reminder.
Mm.
You good?
Yeah, I'm good. Are you
All right,
good?
I'm good.
Okay, excellent. So just the next item that we have, this is on slide number 6. For those of you following along at home, we've got our capital improvement plan and fund. And so Sean's going to join us for this conversation. He's printed out that 5-year capital improvement plan. It looks like this, just so you guys. Yeah, no worries. I mean, a lot of paper, a lot of info. I'll hold it up for a minute. Okay. And we'll let Sean take it away. Sean, you good to go there, buddy?
Sure.
Okay, excellent. Go for it.
Yeah, so this is the 5-year capital plan that I created earlier this year, and I made some edits to it in March. The top page is just kind of the overview. It shows each year and by each school, and additionally central office. The second page gets into the high school. Some of these we aren't committed to doing. This is just what the plan would be if we had funds to do these projects. So, not to be confused with us actually doing them, because we don't have the funds allocated for that. So, there's been a lot of discussion about the Libby Toja roof project, but this first one is the high school. There's various things in here. Second page is the middle school. Various items in there. Again, we don't have anything allocated for this year as of now. If we do have some funds available, we may, at the end of the year, may be able to do some of these projects, but right now we do not. Third one is the Carrie Ricker. Again, some of the similar stuff that's in the other schools that we've looked at that are needs. Some are need to be replaced. Some are projections that we're looking out that will need to be repaired or replaced. Fourth one is Libby Tozier. As you can see, this year we do not have anything in there. We are doing the capital project for the windows and the siding. We've awarded to 2 contractors for that. So that project is going forward. But there are some other things in here. I put in the roof replacement at the $513,000 that I had projected at last meeting for FY29. That would be done in if we continued on with the capital funds over the next 3 years, next year, the year after, and then into FY29. We would have the ability to do that project in the June-July timeframe of 2028. And then the last one is just central office, just some parking things in there and some security items. I didn't go through them all, of course, because we might be here for a while if I did that. But feel free to ask questions if you want to. Sir?
So on the Libby Tosher page, the roof, are we really planning on being in that building that long?
It was funny. I don't know. The answer to your question is I don't know.
Right.
Okay. So, but here's maybe something that's helpful. And I was just thinking about. I think we had talked a little bit about this at Finance and Facilities last week, Robbie, where it was like, okay, if we do, projects at this school or take on, even if we take on debt, right? Like I'm thinking about the SRRF project. What are we going to do long term if that building, for some reason we no longer need it because our enrollment continues to go down, right? The thing that I forgot about was, if we incur any debt, right, and we give the school back to the town then takes on that debt. The school district doesn't. So, I mean, just something to think about. I mean, if we had held debt at Sabattis Primary School, right,
Yeah,
it would have been the same thing, right? It would have gone back to the town. They would be the ones that would be paying for that debt.
I guess seeing what went on in Sabattis, it's a catch-22. We got a bad rap because we didn't do what we needed to do to keep the building up, and on the next hand, we didn't want to keep not that we didn't want to keep the building up, we wanted to keep it viable, but not spend multiple hundreds of thousands of dollars on a building we knew we weren't going to be in either. So giving it back to the town now says, well, we got to spend that money. So it's like, right, yeah, you're going to spend it through the town, you're going to spend it through the school department, but you're going to spend it.
Right. Yeah, I mean, just thinking about that debt service piece, right? So, like, I guess that was my only point is that it wouldn't be the districts or the other towns' expenditures. Do you know what I mean? It would be the town that it went back to.
Mm.
So, just something to keep in mind with that. I mean, when we look at like improvements to our school buildings, whether it's through SRF or whether it's just that's something that we're doing, through the school district itself without state funding. It's about that investment. And like you said, Robbie, I think that we've been asked in the past to look at all other ways that we can fund projects, to help support our school buildings because, for some of them, they're not in, the best of shape because routine maintenance, hasn't been done. And so ultimately, when we look at a capital improvement plan, that's what we would like to be able to do if the funds are there. But ultimately, we know that's not always going to be the case. So we're going to do what we can with what we have to the best of our ability.
Right.
So, I mean, it's just something to, to think about as we make decisions regarding, whether it's a capital improvement plan or SRF is, what do we want to do? I mean, ultimately, and I know this is a bit soapboxy, right? But ultimately, I want to make sure that our buildings are safe and secure and maintained and taken care of for our students and staff who are in there every single day. And if, at some point the enrollment drops and the building goes back to the towns, I'd like to be able to say, we've invested in this building so that you can have it to do what you see fit with it, and they're not having to pour tons of money into it to get it up to speed. Like you said, because when are you going to pay for it? Now? Later?
Mm-hmm.
So just something to think about, I guess, Robbie. I appreciate the question. Sorry, Sean. I didn't mean to leave thunder there.
Nope. Well said. Yep.
Do we have any protocols regarding like volunteer work? Just looking at some of the smaller things, smaller items, obviously not the major repairs like the roof or stuff like that, but like on Oak Hill Middle School, we have painting classrooms or bleacher repairs, playground repairs with, I guess, the border for the holding the chips in, stuff like that. I guess volunteer, donation, stuff like that. Is there anything against that would prohibit that kind of stuff?
Yeah, I would defer to some of the. Yeah, I would say there is a there's policies relating to that. Yeah, go ahead.
There's insurance liability for sure.
Yeah, so we would need to have a COI for any business that was going to donate their time. So if they weren't charging us a fee for labor and materials, if they were donating materials and their time, we would still need a certificate of insurance that they are covered with their own liability for the work that they're doing on premises, even though it's work that they're donating. Does that make sense?
What about just like ordinary people painting rooms or?
That I could look into. I know we've done in years past. Maybe I'm mixing my metaphors here. I feel like that's us sending students and staff out, like Day of Caring is like vice versa, not that way. But I can look into that for you.
Thanks.
Yeah, appreciate the ask, Matt. You don't want me to fix your roof, though, okay? I'm not going to volunteer to do that.
Sean, could you just talk real quick about the Libby Tozier electrical panel upgrade? Because you've got two different fiscal years for the same item, and those two combined are over $1 million. So for electrical panel,
Yeah, there are 2 separate electrical panels in there. Fuses being one, and there one is like the main panel, and there's another that's a sub panel, and that's mainly what the difference is. Very original, I would say. You know, it's been there for a long time. Yep.
and that's just for a panel up. That doesn't include any wiring into the panel from outside or upgrade there.
That covers everything, and again, that's an estimate.
Yeah,
We'd have to get more fine with the projection. Yep.
Sorry, Sean, when you say everything, does that mean the wiring?
Wiring is
Yeah.
included.
Okay.
Yep.
All right. Just I was curious. That's all.
So, sorry. I guess, I mean, I've seen these numbers so often and so many times over the years that they kind of move, but everybody knows that old buildings cost money. You know what I mean? And if you're not spending the money to keep the building up, it's pay me now or pay me later, like Marco said. But if we're not going to come up with a plan to actually get out of that building, we've gotten Sabatis, we've been able to leave that one behind, and to stay in this building to make it viable until 3031, you're talking over $1 million, almost $2 million, almost $4 million. Yeah, sorry. If you add them all up, yeah.
Robbie, it's $4,276,500.
Okay, great. So, I guess if we don't come up with a plan, we're spending the money one way or the other. So whether we spend it on this building and still have a 60-year-old building on our hands, or coming up with a plan for something else that makes it more viable for the next 20, 25, 30 years, I don't understand why we're not seeing the forest through the trees here. Am I right or wrong?
It's your opinion, Robbie, and I'm not saying it's wrong. Ultimately, people may have other thoughts on it, but I agree with you, right? When we kind of went through the whole process of looking at what would it cost, and again, remember we were looking at super rough numbers when it came to like a building project, when it came to portable classrooms, and like cost-wise, it's like, or we can continue to maintain our buildings, and what maintaining your buildings is going to be what is money-wise is where you're best, in my opinion. This is is your best investment. That's just my opinion.
And don't get me wrong, I thought the addition to the middle school, after closing those 2 buildings, was a viable option.
Sure.
And it might have been a little bit larger than what we probably would have needed. We could have, pared that down a little bit and come up with maybe a different solution.
Mm-hmm.
But that was the route that the board decided to go.
Sure.
So
And that was pre-pandemic, right?
And
I mean, that was a long time
pre-pandemic,
ago. It
and-
feels like now.
And there were no construction funds available at the time, so it was 100% funded by
Mm-hmm.
The taxpayers.
Mm-hmm.
And I know now with the new, well, not the new administration, but they're looking at adding more money to construction costs.
Yeah,
And we were on the list. We were so far down the list this time, it would take us another 10 or 15 years to get there.
it'd be a while.
And it took us 10 or 15 years just to get to a vote
Mm-hmm.
on the last building.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, I hear what you're saying, Robbie. Right? I mean, ultimately, what it comes down to is, what do you want to do moving forward? You know. So I'm sorry. What did you guys? Was there something? No. Oh,
Matt, you want to probably add in the SRRF portion that we're talking about into your calculation.
mm-hmm. Yeah. I mean, ultimately, right? Again, these are things that we would like to be able to do, right? And we understand that if the money's there, then we'll do the best that we can, right? Like, it's not committed that we're going to spend, $4 million or something along those lines. These are things that we would like to see updated.
I think we're going to discuss that.
Yeah, it's $30,000 over 10 years. Matt, that's what the cost is to that SRF project.
Do we know which items are necessity or required versus nice to have?
Yeah. As far as Libby Tozier,
Oh, I mean, we're talking about Libby Tozier, but my question would apply to the entire packet.
yeah, it's a good question, right? I mean, new codes change. New codes to buildings change all the time. A lot of times your buildings that are in play are like grandfathered, right? Yeah. But when we talk about safety, security to buildings, whether it's a roof, whether it's various other things, sprinklered or not, it's whether we want to make a decision to do it or not. I think that's the majority of it. I can look through the ones in here and get back with you on which ones that are like not to code today, and that we're kind of not compliant to, but we're actually not to code. Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Was $500,000 for a turf field at the high school. So
Yeah.
I would say that's probably not a code violation there.
I think that's a safe bet. Excuse me.
Said grant.
yeah,
I kind
that's
of
half
assumed that was-
half of what it would cost.
Oh, is that
Yeah, there's a
We investigated that a few years ago, what that would be, because it was a grant, right?
but you still have to match or maintain or something
Yeah.
that particular grant.
Is that grant still available? Do you know?
I'm
No.
not aware of it still
Yeah.
available. No.
Yeah, it would be something we'd have to
I mean,
investigate.
don't get me wrong. I would love that. It's pretty high on my want list.
Is it really?
Yeah, but it's still a want.
There's plenty of needs.
That's
Scott,
good.
right?
There's plenty of needs.
Yeah.
Plenty of needs.
Yeah, I appreciate that. Yeah, I would agree with you too. It would be pretty sweet. Yeah. Oh, sorry.
Oh no, sorry.
You gonna say something?
I'm confused by the district totals. So my math isn't mathing, and I don't math. So that's that. Let me just it's probably a user issue. But how are we at a total of only 6 million? And I'm not saying that that's like a drop in the bucket, only 6 million. But we were talking about like 4.5 million for Libby Tozier.
I can go through everything I added up if you want me to.
Well, I think you just added up the
So-
bottom line, right?
I did. I added up everything for the Libby Tozier SRF project. I calculated in the 5 years of the 10 years we'd be on the hook for that.
Yeah.
So that it
I
evens
see. I
out
see.
with the spending that we're looking at.
Yep.
So the total I got was $6,085,600.
Just for Libby Tozier.
No, this is
No,
for
it's
total,
everything.
Total.
Total. But
Oh, so that 4.5 wasn't just for Libby Tozier? I thought it was.
no, the
it was.
four. The
It's hot.
find the page I'm supposed to be on.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean just rough math. You got looking at 3, 4, 4.5 right there.
Right.
Yeah.
So how are we only at 5.9?
So central office is 60,000 total. Kerry Ricker is 284,000. Oak Hill Middle is 258,600. And then the high high school is $1,056,500.
So that shows the buildings that are younger in age cost us less.
Is the high school younger?
No.
Yeah.
Libby
Oh.
Tozer and the high school are the oldest
they're
buildings
two
in our
oldest.
district.
Yeah.
And they're the most expensive
They're
for
the
us
ones
to
that are
upkeep.
Yeah.
in the
Those are the
millions.
two oldest
Well,
ones.
yeah, but you have a half
Yeah.
$1 million bucks in there for a turf field. At the
Yeah, so you can't really count that. Okay.
Unless
So, wow.
unless Scott had his way, then we could get a turf field. Good
I mean,
discussion.
In all
sorry.
seriousness, like it going to a school that has a nice turf field with bleachers and it is safer, it's cleaner, it's just presents nicer. Like you just get a feeling like they have pride in the school and they have pride in their athletics, and it's
And lights.
I would love to have it. It's a high on the want list, but
I would love to see less Yellow Jackets.
yeah.
Does the turf help with that?
Yeah.
You should see me at a football game.
I mean, I don't know. I don't know if it
Yeah,
does.
they were pretty bad.
Oof.
They were bad. Yeah.
So anyway, yeah,
I appreciate the
If we
feedback,
got a
Scott. It's good.
100% grant,
You're in. You're in. If we can get
sponsorship.
That's what they did in Freeport, right? And with
Winthrop.
Winthrop too.
Yeah.
Oh, really?
Tyler's, yep.
Freeport, I think it was Nike, for crying out loud.
Wow.
Well, that was because Joan Benoit Samuelson is from there. Yeah.
Oh,
Yep.
did not know that.
Yep.
she's got a big plaque up.
She does. Yeah. We have any famous athletes?
I mean, former Olympian.
Anybody out there? Anybody who wants to give, let us know.
Sabata's House of Pizza.
I am not saying that, Scott.
Put that on your. Yeah.
That was good. All right.
So what do you need from us with this capital improvement plan? Is this just informational?
It's informational.
Okay.
It's for your eyes. How's
So
that
yeah,
sound?
Just trying to figure out, like, what are the required necessities?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's a great ask, right? It might help us pare down, obviously, like what needs focus first,
Mm-hmm.
right? It works. Oh, Christy's got a question.
Just clarifying. So capital improvement does not go in the actual line item budgets that we're asking for. So like as we're developing this budget, it's for the public that's watching, they're not going to see this $240,600 embedded in the cost centers for this upcoming fiscal year.
They will see some funds in the repair and maintenance lines for priority projects that Sean tries to work within the scope of the budget that is set, and to identify the highest needs based on safety, urgency. I mean, if you have owned a home at any point, you probably have a similar list in your head of things you want to do, but as things come up that were unanticipated, you respond as well. And that's a big part of the maintenance budget that Sean oversees as well too, is day to day what's coming up with our systems, our equipment, our function of the schools and what needs to be handled to make sure that we can operate on a daily basis. And that might not always be what's on the plan.
Is there a way to differentiate what's on the capital? I'm just thinking for people that aren't in the weeds like we are, like how can somebody know, like I'm looking at this list for Oak Hill High School, I'm looking at fiscal year 26-27. Can we figure out a way to differentiate what's built in the budget versus what is just on the wish list?
Yes.
All right. We'll move on then if we're good there. Thanks, Sean. Appreciate it. And then just moving on to slide number 7, gang, to the Capital Improvement Fund. So we did talk about this a little while ago, just looking at, again, this is expenditures towards a roof project is what we're thinking as far as Libby Tozier is concerned. We're nearing the end of life for that building. Not the building. Yeah, that's good.
The roof.
Way to go, Marco. Yeah. We're nearing end of life for the roof. And so we need to do something about it. And so, as Sean said, we're looking ahead a few years, but if we can put money away, it's something that we don't have to add to the budget, obviously, right? Like the whole entire project and it being a shock to the taxes. So we're looking to have a savings account, which we already have set up. You guys approved that last year. We're using approximately $150,000 that was earmarked for siding and windows for that school, and that'll be happening, as Sean said, this summer, which is great. Looking forward to seeing that. But this would help us build basically a savings account for a roof project in a few years so that we can get that addressed. So just want to make sure that you guys are aware of that, and that, you know, that amount of money is about $150,000 is what we would do at this point in time.
So we planted the seed for this, so you could start thinking about it maybe last meeting, maybe the meeting before. But we have adjusted it down $50,000, so it's a static from last year's amount. Just wanting to make sure that as we approach the near end of our audit for this fiscal year and thinking about where we might finish for FY26, what we don't want to do is overextend our fund balance, so that way we are facing a fund balance cliff to support, you know, lessening the burden on taxes in future years. So we want to start to step away from that reliance on fund balance and use it more to the capital improvement fund, but we've just adjusted it down a little bit just to be cautious and not overextend.
Thank you, Sam.
So should it read to be expended during the upcoming fiscal year, or should it be something different if it's the plan is to save it for future years, compounding and getting enough to do a roof?
Yeah, it's to expend at the discretion of the board. So if you don't choose to decide to expend it that year, you have permission to, in case an emergency comes up or something that could, you know, drain the repair and maintenance lines for planned projects. You could use this fund and you could pivot. So it gives you flexibility to say, oh my gosh, this was unplanned, it's an emergency, we're going to dip in, right? But you don't have to. So it's at the discretion of the board. If the board says we're going to save and not expend it, then you can.
Okay.
Okay.
But either way, the board would be voting
Correct.
before anything's expended.
Correct. I would picture it going through a similar process to other things, like go to the finance and facilities for review and discussion at that level, and then coming for with a recommendation to the board.
Okay. Thank you.
Good question. Thanks for the answer, Sam.
Marco?
You got it, bud.
So, Sam, I know we're trying to pare down our fund balance that we're putting into lessening taxes. I know we raised it last year. Am I right? By how much?
We raised it by $150,000 last year.
And we're paring it down this year?
We're raising it by 50 this year to
Okay,
respond
so-
to the need to offset the tax burden.
Right.
But knowing that if you continue to do that,
Yeah.
you're setting yourself up eventually to fall off that cliff. So
Right.
we want to find the balance of responding to the immediate need to lessen the burden on taxes, but being smart enough to say, how can we make this last and kind of curtail it a little bit to a time?
So what's the total that we're giving this year for tax relief?
What is promised or
Yeah.
pledged in the budget is $550,000.
550.
Yep, and we've already transferred $150,000 to the capital improvement fund at the start of this year that was approved last year.
Right.
So
okay.
all told, $700,000,
Yeah,
which
right.
is almost twice as much as you promised
Right.
the year
okay.
before.
Yeah, that's what I want. Yep. Thank you.
Okay, moving on. And I'll take some time to wrap your head around that one, if you'd like. Of course.
So just a reminder, because this is relatively new, this will be one of the warrants that come. So we noted from last year that when you're going to get ready to vote on the warrants, that you'd like that ahead of time. So we have that in our notes to make sure that that material gets to you for review. But that capital improvement fund will look a little bit different than last year because you don't have to establish the fund. It's already established. But that wording that was on slide 7 is what you'll see for a warrant, and similar wording for the special ed reserve account that you kind of gave us the thumbs up for earlier. But that one will say create. What's the word I just said? Establish. Thank you. Establish, transfer, and expend, because it would be a new fund in FY27. So you will see those on the warrants if you continue to support that.
Thanks. I wasn't paying attention.
He
That's
wasn't.
all. And when you said what's, I know. That's why I was like, no, you're good. You're good. Thank you, Sam. Moving on, slide number 8, adult education. And so I'm just going to run through these slides for you. And Mr. Palmer's here this evening to talk about adult education if need be. So slide number 8, again, is just the title slide, adult education. Slide number 9. Within the adult education staff, there's a half-time director, which is shared with the high school athletics or athletic director. It's also partially funded through the Adult Education Family Literacy Act grant. So there's some money there that has helped to pay for the funding of that position. Additionally, we have a teacher and some clerical support, which is part-time in the staff for adult education. Slide number 10, our other adult education expenditures within this cost center. We have employee training and development, travel reimbursement for hub meetings, office supplies and equipment, dues and memberships, postage, and telephone. Slide number 11 speaks to a change in 16 through 20-year-old adult ed funding. So I'll just read through this and then give you guys kind of a synopsis of what this means. It is good news for us as far as the money is concerned. So just I'll read through it just so that everybody knows what I'm talking about, and then again a quick synopsis on it. So 16 through 20-year-old adult ed funding, and so these are students that are aged 16 through 20. And beginning with fiscal year 27, the state has changed how 16 through 20-year-old students enrolled in adult education programs are funded through the school funding formula, which is EPS. The change primarily affects how the state subsidy follows the student when they leave a traditional high school program and enroll in adult education. So that paragraph will not change over the next 3 slides, but the information below it will. So in, again, slide number 11, funding for through 20-year-old students enrolled in adult education is now allocated through adult education program rather than remaining tied to the students sending high school or SAU. Okay, so what was it prior to that? And you'll see on side 12, the bulleted point there. In prior practice, the student's home district often retained the EPS subsidy. So even if the student completed coursework through an adult education provider. So let's say, for instance, that we had students that were from Auburn, but then came to Oak Hill High School for adult education. The subsidy for that student would stay in their home district, right? So that's changed, which is good because they're being serviced through our program, which is good news again for us. So moving on to slide number 13, again, but the bulleted point is the only thing that's changed. Under the fiscal year 27 change, the funding is redirected so that adult education programs receive the subsidy associated with these students, right? And so what you'll see here in the line by line when we get there in just a few minutes is some monies that would have been just in our general fund that are now allocated directly to adult education, which means that we have the opportunity to create more revenue with our 16 through 20-year-old students, right? So if we start saying, hey, we have this great program and it's accessible and it's easy to navigate, there's a possibility there that could be a real influx of subsidy for us, which is great. So some good news there. On slide 14, just some other notes that are there, guys. We have our PFML, that's paid family medical leave premiums for all staff, the health insurance premium increase for all staff. We did reallocate 0.04% of the director's salary to that Adult Education Family Literacy Act grant. Act grant. And there was the change in the funding model since fiscal year 26. I did do that without notes. Thank you. Yeah. I know there are people out there that like to know what those acronyms are, so make sure we have them out there. So the adult education summary, you can see there's a slight increase there, $3,129. And then we'll jump to the line by line with Sam here for adult education. Any questions on the overview? I know it can be a little confusing about the funding change there, but it's good news for us because that means that subsidy's not staying where the student might be from, but coming to us because they're being serviced.
Do we have any students that go elsewhere for adult ed?
I don't know.
That we
I don't know the answer to that question. Jim, do you want to come to the table real quick? I don't know. Maybe if you would know that. I mean, being an adult ed director and part of the hub, if that's something that's discussed.
And on a related note, do we have projections of how many 16 to 20-year-olds we're currently servicing that
Yep.
we would actually receive funding for now?
You'll see it in the you'll see it
Yeah.
now, Christy, when we go line by line.
Yeah, so we don't really know how many students may go elsewhere. In our hub, which is our region of Auburn, Lewiston, Turner, Poland, we meet on a monthly basis and we talk about that. I will let the Poland adult ed director know, hey, I had somebody come in for an intake from your district. Did you separate them? And are you okay with them coming here? But I think I've had 1 or 2 of those inquiries from the hub in the last couple of years. So that's the best I know of how many are leaving. Yeah, and with 16 to 20, we usually have about, it ranges, but 4 to 6 16 to 20-year-olds. That's probably our bigger market of students.
Okay, thank you. Yeah, I think we're ready to go line by line.
All right, so in your packets, we're looking at the adult education totals and then revenue. So this program, adult education, along with school nutrition, which we will tackle next, they are their own fund. So they are distinct from the general fund. And that's why we look at their revenue together. So we look at all the expenses and then we look at the revenue to match the expenses for each of these funds. So just looking at the structure of the account clusters for adult education, the first fund is fund code 1500, and there's several clusters of accounts within that fund. So that entire fund represents adult and continuing education, but the clusters cover the office of our director, adult workforce training, high school completion and GED, and then local literacy. Then there's another fund, which was the grant that was referenced, the Adult Education Family Literacy Act Fund. And then the final one is a distinct adult education fund for enrichment only. So we'll walk through those together. So the first cluster of accounts represents the office of the director. So starting with line 1 and continuing to line 13, that is the salary and benefit lines for our director. We did note in the presentation that a small portion of that is allocated to the grant fund, so you'll see that come up a little bit later. But remember, the fluctuation in that over the last several years is to do with the percent of a director that we've had. So we've had a full-time director, then a 0.75 director, and now back to a half-time director. And then this year we're budgeting to allocate a small percentage of that 50% to the grant. There's also a small amount of money set aside for clerical work to support the director for paperwork that needs to get done for students that are accessing adult education. So that's, very part-time and hourly pay. But you'll see all of the benefit and tax related lines for those work down through 13. And then line 14 starts the discretionary lines for that office. So we have notably, the probably biggest expenditure is the brochure that's sent out annually for adult education. So there's postage and then printing associated with that brochure production. And very minimal fluctuations to other expenditure lines, with just a note in line 22 that the local dues and fees have been projected to increase a little bit next year in line 22. Any questions on that first cluster of accounts? Okay. And then line 23 and then line 28 and line 36 are kind of like the cluster breaks for those other components to adult ed. So all instructional salary lines for adult workforce training and then high school completion and GED, that particular section that starts with line 28 does have a small amount of set aside for instructional supplies and books and periodicals for that work through the department. And then a small amount of instructional salary for the local literacy as well. Again, very minimal sections in those lines. Questions on that second page?
So are those salaries individuals that we hire to deliver?
Yeah, it'd be like
those
hourly.
programs?
Yeah, hourly
Okay.
instructional fees for folks that are hired for those specific programming. Yep. Okay, line 41 starts the expense lines for the AFLA grant. Again, the Adult Ed Family Literacy Act grant. So this is a grant that Jim receives as part of the hub. We get a portion of the hub grant, and then we have certain things that we can expense that grant on. And so we have budgeted next year to expend a portion of the director's salary. So that's that 0.04% from the first set of salary lines in that allocation. Questions on that? Okay, and then that final cluster of accounts, this 6150 fund, that's adult ed enrichment, right? And so a small amount of salary and related lines for any instruction provided for enrichment classes. And then at the bottom of that third page, that brings us to the grand total for adult ed programming. We are at just over 92,000, which is about 3,000 higher than the budget last year, or 3.5% up. And because this is its own program, its own fund, the revenue needs to support that program. So the final page within your adult ed packet is the revenue packet. And just jumping to the grand total, you'll see it's identical to the expense total, right? So how are we going to fund all of those things that we're going to spend money on in adult ed? So I'm going to draw your eye first to line 4, right? When we have programming, we always kind of use state subsidy as the backbone of how we start to fund that program. So you'll notice that fluctuation in state subsidy that we've seen the last couple of years is 2 years behind the fluctuation that you would have seen in the adult ed director salary, right? So the adult ed programming uses a formula to calculate the state subsidy, similar to the ED 279, just much, much less complex. And the amount that we are contributing to the director's salary is one of the factors in that formula. So as we paid more for a director's salary, we got more from the state. Now that we're back down to a 0.5% director, that $27,530 is roughly what we anticipate that subsidy staying at if that allocation stays about the same. Okay. And then I want to draw your eye to line 5, just below that. This is the new 16 to 20-year-old allocation that we were talking about during the presentation. So again, formally, this monies was assigned through the ED 279 as other subsidizable costs. Because it's an adult ed cost and the fund is distinct from the general fund, the state has decided next year to pull it out of general fund calculations and put it with adult ed programming. So this is $24,000 that we, maybe wouldn't have had all of it or some of it, but it would have been relocated into our state allocation with all the other money that we get for the general fund. But now it is exclusive to supporting the adult ed program. So you'll see it zeroed out in every year prior. The last two lines, 6 and 7, are, general course fees, where the monies that we pull in for folks that participate and pay to participate in enrichment type classes. And then line 7 is the grant revenue that we anticipate through the hub. And so once we have those 4 totaled, then we take it away from the budget amount and split that with the additional local formula between the 3 towns. So you can see that because of that additional $24,000 of funding, we now have a decrease to the local dollars going into the adult ed funding.
Go ahead, Teresa.
I think my questions are more for Jim, but maybe not. I see advertising at 1,500. How's the program advertised? We have a line item of $1,500 for advertising, and I was just wondering how we advertise.
So we use a couple methods. We do the program booklet that goes out. I've tried to stop doing that a couple times, and I always get calls from people, why don't I have a booklet in the mail? So we use that. We put it on our website. We also use Maya's website, which you can type in the zip code, and it will bring you to any adult ed program in that zip code.
And also, what enrichment programs do we offer? Like, I know you had mentioned something about pickleball last year, maybe it was, or
Upcoming this year, but we had one last year
Okay.
too. Yeah. I'll be honest, since it's been halftime, I don't spend a lot of time on enrichment because it doesn't bring in a lot of money for us. Typically, if we offer an enrichment program, the revenue matches what we pay out for it. There's maybe a small increase or revenue, but I focus most of my attention on that AFLA grant that we have, as well as the high school diploma, the high set, and workforce training.
so we do have pickleball coming up next year, and what else? Was that it?
Nope, just right now for the rest of this year, just pickleball coming up
Okay,
in April.
thank you.
Anybody else?
A question. Since you have people that are teaching these classes at adult ed, do you also have to pay them under the Family Medical Leave Act?
Yes.
It might be in our folders. Did we ask for enrollment for adult ed? It's in there. I just haven't seen it.
It was one of the initial data requests
Okay.
from our our December 10th meeting that led. So if you check the February 25th folder,
It's in that one.
there's information in there. Yep. We'll stop asking for more.
I feel like we get buried in paper, right? Paper. Yeah, it's a lot. It's a lot of information.
You can sign an opt-out to stop getting paper copies if you would like.
Any other questions? Oh, I'm sorry, Nicole.
No, I
Go
was
ahead.
just going to ask
No, you-
anything else, or are we good to move on? Thanks, Jim.
Thank you, Jim. Appreciate it. All right. We'll move on to slide number 16. Sorry about that. Reading numbers there. School nutrition. All right. So title slide, school nutrition. Slide number 16. Number 17 tells you who's included in school nutrition staff. We've got a half-time director shared with maintenance, kitchen managers and assistant kitchen managers, and food service workers. Slide 18 has your other school nutrition expenditures. Serve Safe, which is a type of training, and DOE trainings, inspections of kitchen equipment, point of sale and menu planning software, kitchen equipment repairs and maintenance, food supplies and dry goods, kitchen equipment dues, and memberships. Slide 19, school nutrition notes. Again, a PFML premiums for all staff, health insurance premium increase for all staff, negotiated increases for staff. Reallocation of director salary is now a 50-50 split with facilities and maintenance. We do not have this year a fresh fruits, vegetables, and produce grant in fiscal year 26 or fiscal year 27. But also included in there is the new cloud-based menu planning software to support students with dietary restrictions. And you can see on slide number 20 the difference year over year. And so we are up $39,112 between fiscal year 26 and proposed fiscal year 27. Any questions about the overview and school nutrition? We'll turn it over to, if not, we'll turn it over to Sam with the line by line.
Sure. So in your paperwork, you're looking at the school lunch expenditures report, and then also, again, because this is its own fund, we'll be looking right after at the revenue to match the fund budget. So school lunch is a little bit different. We have some district-wide lines, and then we have some school-based lines, and they are not kind of split out by school. If you would like me to do that in future years, I'm happy to, because I know that's what we've done with some of the other reports. But just remember that any account code that ends in 900 is a district-wide line, and then the other school accounts, I can walk you through what those numbers are. On the first page, though, is primarily salary and benefits. So you can see line 1, a pretty significant increase there. Again, moving from a 0.25 split to a 0.5 split. These are two relatively large departments to oversee, so the share of the work is more 50-50 rather than 75-25. You can also see line 2 is all of your other school lunch salaried employees. Excuse me. So within those staff, we have 3 food service managers, 1 assistant food service manager, so those 4 employees oversee each of the buildings, and then 9 food service workers. So we did add to this year's budget based on needs and volume and capacity, a very part-time position at the high school to support food service there. And then the rest of the salary and benefit lines extend through line 22. So that's the entirety of the first page, if you have any questions on those. And then the second page of this expense report starts the discretionary lines, and you'll see them bounce between 900, district-wide, 020 on the end, which is Carrie Ricker. The middle school is 030, Libby Tozier is 120, and the high school is 300. Sabatis primary ends in 130, and you'll see zeroed out. So first, you've got some monies set aside for the trainings that were mentioned in the presentation for line 23. And then we have a contracted services line for each of the school buildings, each of the kitchens, and a district-wide line. So the building-based contracted services lines are the annual hood inspection fees that we pay at each kitchen. And then the district-wide contracted services line, line 29, represents the point of sales system, the Heartland or Mosaic point of sales system, and also the new cloud-based menu planning system that we mentioned at Finance and Facilities and in the presentation earlier. Starting with line 30, each of the buildings has a distinct kitchen repair and maintenance line. So you can see those have been left static with the exception of 2 increased at the middle school and Libby Tozier going into FY27. The district-wide line is zeroed out because we don't have a district-wide kitchen that needs to be repaired. It used to be all of the repairs and maintenance for school nutrition was in that one line, but we decided to break it out by school to track expenditures within each of the building kitchens. And then very similar expenditure lines, once you get down to 38, it gets pretty unique for food service. So line 38 represents the food supply line. So this is the expense account for all of the food that funnels through all of the kitchens for breakfast and for lunch. So you can see we've increased that a little bit. You can see that line 39 is zeroed out. That was the supply line for the fresh fruits, vegetables, and produce grant that we had been receiving for a number of years. Again, we did not qualify for that grant this year and don't anticipate. qualifying for that grant in FY27. So we have zeroed out all the expense lines for that grant and all of the revenue lines that accompany it. Line 40 is the a la carte supplies line. So Sean has been working hard to develop our a la carte programming, which can be a source of revenue in the district. So this is supplies that are specific to the vending machines that bring in some revenue. I think ice cream is another a la carte option that we have. So the purchases that we make for that don't qualify for lunch reimbursements are expensed differently, so we can track them differently. And then line 41 is another supply line, but it's non-food. So this is like your disposable paper goods and things like that that support the kitchen programming in the district. And you can see that particular line is down just a touch as well. Then lines 42 through 46 represent the kitchen equipment lines. So what Director Knox has done with these lines is just to spread them out over the 4 remaining schools, not knowing exactly what equipment he's going to, but making sure that district-wide there's a pool of monies for needed equipment repairs in FY27. Yep, and then the dues and fees line staying static over last year, and the totals for the program. We're at 1.061 million for school nutrition, which Marco noted is up about 39,000 over last year, or 3.82%. Questions on the expenditure side, Scott?
Which school is 030?
030 is the middle school.
Middle school.
Yep.
Why is on line 25 the hood inspection more, whereas in previous years it's the same for all schools, but in on this budget it's more than the other schools?
That's
Is
a
that
great
just
question.
A clerical error, or
Sean, do you have an answer for that right off, or should I add it to the data requests? Okay.
it's only $200, but I was just curious. Okay.
Good eye on details.
Yeah, we'll check. It's
We'll
no
look into it,
problem.
Scott.
Yeah,
Thank you.
good catch, Scott. That's good. Oh, you did, Christy? Yeah, good job. I know we should bring stickers. That'd be great. Little
Stars.
little dollar signs. Little dollar signs.
I have a question about 29. Do we know why there's a almost double increase there from 7,000 to?
So that would be the new cloud-based menu planning system.
Oh, that's a new thing.
Is that accurate, Sean? Yeah. Yeah, so this is in response to we've had a significant increase in the last several years to our students that have dietary restrictions, and managing the menu planning from that has become extremely taxing on staff. And I think this new system really supports not only the staff in that planning, makes it very quick, very easy, user-friendly, but it's also an incredible asset to the families, you know, who have students that have dietary restrictions as well.
Okay, thank
Will
you.
that be a yearly, will that stay stagnant, or is this an initial extra fee? for
Annual
starting? Okay,
fee.
So it'll stay the same similarly next year.
So it should be about 11.7 next year. Go ahead, Christy.
Are we using that software for all of the meals in the district, or only for those that have dietary
Sean's going to
restriction?
come on over.
You made the mistake of walking
I was
away.
yeah, and I was gonna guess the answer.
Could have. I was going to.
Hold it.
Hello?
There you go.
Yeah, I don't have it in front of me, but the 11.7 is for the POS, our point of sale system, which is at the register, plus the menu planning. So if I remember right, it's about 4,700 annually for the Heartland menu planning end of it, and then the POS annual that we've always put in is part of the POS. Is the rest of it?
Are we
It's-
using
We will. Yeah, all schools. Absolutely.
Christy, that was my guess. It was for all schools. No, it's a dollar sign. That's what I want. Maybe like a piggy bank or something.
But that 11.7 is still lower than our actuals in prior years too. So
And in prior years, we have contracted with Lisbon to get some support from their director because we either didn't have a direct, it was a stipend position that we had an employee pick up as kind of an add-on, and that did not work as well as we would like it to, as you can imagine. And then we had a relatively new director that needed a lot of support. And, Sean's jumped right in with both feet. And so we've been able to reduce that cost at Lisbon substantially going into this budget.
good. 'Cause that was kind of one of my questions too. I know we did that last year with the change in the director roles and the curriculum role. But it's going well, half and half. Great. Thanks, Sean.
And if I can just clarify, I didn't mean like the person didn't do a good job. It was just a really big job for like an add-on.
Right.
That's all I meant.
Yep. Any more questions for Sean before he leaves again?
He's just going over the conference room table if we need him again. Thanks, Sean. Appreciate it.
All right.
Okay, so now we look at the partner report for this fund, which is the revenue report. So again, this is distinct from the general fund. You'll see it separate as a warrant. And so as we look at the fund expenditures, we'll also look at the revenue. So similar to the adult ed, the first thing that we're going to do is jump way down. There's a lot of revenue lines here. Don't get lost in them. The state, a handful of years ago, required us to start breaking out the revenue we received by what it was for. Breakfast, lunch, free and reduced. When we budget, we take what we anticipate in its entirety, for state subsidy, and we bump it right down into line 12. Okay, so what we're receiving for actuals is going to filter through from the state lines 7 down to line 16. Okay, but what we budget for, just to keep it kind of condensed and there for you, is in line 12. So you can see that what we are anticipating for subsidizable reimbursements for lunches and breakfast is up to 775,000, or up 25,000 from last year. And then if we zip down to line 17, that's that grant revenue line that we zeroed out. Again, we didn't qualify for it this year, and we don't anticipate qualifying for it next year, but we'll continue to keep our ear to that in case something changes. We did finish the year in a positive place last year for nutrition, so we are promising in line 19 a little bit more in balance forward to offset tax burden. And then the other revenue line that contributes before we hit the towns is line 4. So the a la carte program, we are pledging anticipated revenue consistent to last year. So all of that brings us to the first 3 lines, which are the funding from each of the towns in the RSU to support school nutrition alone. And you can see that those are up from last year. And any town funding for school nutrition, adult ed, is the same funding formula that's used for the additional local in the general fund. So that's how those programs are funded, how the calculation is. Questions on the revenue side?
The fresh fruits and vegetable, is that just luck of the draw, or is there a specific reason why we were not eligible for it?
Yeah, I'm not entirely sure why we weren't. I know that there's some process that they use when they do that grant breakout. They have a specific amount of funds, so it could have been that the amount of funds overall wasn't as big as in prior years, and so we didn't quite make the cutoff. That would be my guess, because that's typically how those need-based grants work. Sean, did you have any additional to add to that? Yeah. Yeah, so lots of need, limited resources.
Thanks.
Was there any talk of going back to charging students for lunches?
Isn't
Not that I'm aware of. That has stayed pretty
it
consistent.
the state law?
Yeah.
It's state law, right?
Yeah, I mean, every time I've heard the governor speak about it, she's
Yeah,
very
think
committed, and
it's-
you know, administrations can
think
change,
so.
but right now, I haven't heard any discussion about going back to it. It continues to be the catch-22 of it's a great thing to make sure that our students are fed without any obstacle, but then it also reduces the amount of forms we get returned to us for the socioeconomic status piece too.
Yeah, we'll get to that too. You'll see that the socioeconomics economic piece when we get to the 279, which is coming up.
I should probably know the answer to this, but fund balance, is that its own? Nutrition has its own fund balance.
That's correct.
Separate than the general. So
That's correct.
this doesn't show the amount that is in that fund. It just shows the amount we're using to apply to the expenditure
Correct.
side. What, can we get a balance of what's in that fund?
Sure.
And that just grows because of the revenue side offsetting expenditure.
Yeah, when you have revenues that exceed expenditures, that goes into fund balance, and you can use that to offset budget in next year's. Yeah, and that happens when you underspend your food costs potentially, or you know, the most common one that we've seen right now is related to staffing. If you have open positions that you budgeted to be filled 100% of the year, but you had a month of time where you had an open position because of a vacancy, or if you have staff that exhaust their PTO and are taking unpaid time off.
Okay. How's everybody doing? You guys hanging in there or what? Huh? We could take a quick break. What are you thinking, Nicole? What do you want to?
We could take a quick break before we do ED 279.
Look, we're not going to do the whole document. We're going to highlight.
Yeah, we'll take 5. Do 5? We need a school bell. A school bell for the 5-minute.
I have a like a little triangle. Yeah, I use it when this is to get people's ideas.
All right, we're back on the air. Audio as well.
All of a sudden it's cold.
It's cooled off in here.
It's perfect. I put my sweatshirt back on. Let's not turn the heat back on.
Yeah, I know. I don't like being warm either. Like too hot. Oh, you got stickers.
Oh my god.
That's great. Did you get one, Scott? I think Christy needs one too because
What is the sticker for? How do you get a sticker?
when you bring up a good point, good
Asking
questions.
good questions.
That's right.
What about those
I would have tried harder. That's good. I like that.
what about those participation medals?
No, you don't. We don't believe in those.
I'm gonna put it in my budget book.
Doug, I like that you would have tried. Here.
Uh,
That's good.
That was cute. That was cute.
Ooh.
But we don't want to make it go long.
All right. Speaking of not making it go longer, let's keep moving. All right. Well, welcome back, everybody. We'll go ahead and keep it rolling with the 279. What? Oh, hi, guys. Are you going to talk? You going to let them know what's going on? Okay. Bye.
Just kidding. Right. You showed up at the perfect time.
I think they have conferences tonight.
They had
parent-teacher.
conferences
Yeah.
tonight. Yes. Yes. Anyway, why don't we just keep it rolling with the 279 slide? 21 is the title slide. And then if we can move to slide 22. These, we're not going to go line by line through the 279. That is a lot. We're not doing that. So we're just going to hit the highlights here that affect us as a school district and our state subsidy. And, just something I want to make sure that you guys are aware of. The 279 basically is like the benchmark for the minimal level of education and how it's subsidized between state and local dollars. Again, it's that minimum aspect of things that I want you guys to hold on to as we go through it. But if you take a look with the small lettering there, we're going to need to help Diane out. I don't know, Diane, what do you need? A magnifying glass? What do you need?
It's not. It doesn't make it big enough.
It doesn't make it big. Yeah, you want us? We can get the readers. Do they have? Don't they have a Reader's Digest big print edition? Yeah, we'll get that.
I'm fine. I've got it.
There you go.
Jeez.
Marco, is the breakdown line or the line by line breakdown available online to review?
Oh, is it ever?
This is on the Augusta. Yeah.
Oh yeah,
DOE.
buddy. If you and
Yeah,
I'm pretty
that's what you
sure
could do.
I will check with Sam here, but I'm pretty sure it's in one of our folders. Thank you. That's the word I was looking for. It's in one of our folders, and if you're really pumped to learn more about it, Matt, I'm happy to sit with you and walk through it. Sam's really got it down. I'm pretty confident in what we're looking at, but if you're ever curious and want to just kill a few
Preliminary.
hours, we can do it, buddy.
Found it.
All right, nothing but time. The other thing is too, right? I'm sorry that we're kind of going off topic here, but at the conference every year, Paula Gravel, who's in charge of all the finances with the state, she's a wonderful resource, wonderful human being, does a great job of walking you through it. And what's really great is to see superintendents who have been through this process. There may be 10 years into it. They go to those sessions just to better understand everything that goes into it, because it's pretty complicated, that's for sure.
Well, and to understand the changes too, because we've noted tonight there's a change that was made to the adult ed, so it doesn't stay static every year. They make adjustments to it, so it's understanding what those annual adjustments are and how they're going to impact you.
All he's got is time.
And if you want to spend some time on Monday at 10 a.m., the Education and Cultural Committee on our state legislature are debating the ED 279 changes. That the public hearing I watched went from 10 a.m. until about 3:30 of people testifying
Yeah,
for
it was really good. And just may I say, yeah, Christy was kind enough to submit testimony in regards to the 279 and really, what this district faces. And I would say a lot of the rural school district face when we are land, and I apologize for these terms, right? This is not, it's a generalization, right? When we are land rich in the state's eyes, right? But we are salary poor, right? And I don't mean that as a negative, but as far as like that discrepancy or the way that they put that funding formula together, that's the issue. And so they're recognizing that and trying to fix it, which is great. But we really want to make sure we continue to advocate for those changes so that we can get more state allocated dollars to help support, our students. And you'll see this, and we're kind of jumping ahead. That's what you'll see here, right? Like our local additional, we've been able to be really tight with our budget, do building projects, offer new programming, with a minimal increase as far as what we can control, right? It's that required local that's really kicking us in the pants. And that's really that, again, that high valuation. The state's saying, you guys have got, land that's valued like this. You guys should be able to pay. And that's not the case. It's just not reality. So you'll see this, though. I'm getting ahead of myself as far as the breakdown is concerned. We've been responsible on our end of things, and it's nothing against the state or anybody that puts these formulas together, but it's the reality of, the times that we're living in and, how they break it down, I guess. So I'll get a bit off of my soapbox and back to the presentation. The slide 22 shows the changes from fiscal year 26. And so I'm just going to go step by step here. Hopefully the lettering is big enough for you. But essentially, if you look, and as I noted at the beginning of all of our budget presentations, our student enrollment is down. And so that does have a negative impact on our allocation.
Outside. Yeah.
Yeah, we'll keep going. Sorry about that. They did turn it down, which is good. Yeah. Okay. That's interesting. All right. So we'll move on to the next category there, our EPS rate. So it's essential program and services rate, right? The state is recognizing that it costs more money to educate our kiddos. And so our per pupil rates are up from last fiscal year, which is great. So that's a positive impact on our allocation. Going along to the next point there, disadvantage counts. And this is the socioeconomic status form, right? So this is what we were talking a little bit about, the lunch, not counts, but the lunch paperwork that we get back from, people in the communities. Because there isn't a requirement for anybody to pay necessarily for school lunch right now, we're not getting those forms back, as steadily as we used to. And that's difficult because relying on a paper form and people to fill it out and send it back is extremely difficult. We did a big drive at the beginning of the school year to get more of those forms from people. We were at different events, the trunk or treat. I went and hung out there, went to different events to try to get people to fill them out. Some people aren't comfortable filling them out, which I completely appreciate it, right? Pickup lines. But ultimately what it comes down to is that our disadvantage counts, so the socioeconomic status is down, or the number of people who qualify as disadvantaged is down. Moving on to special education allocation. So the state is recognizing that it does cost more to educate special education students. And so that has had a positive impact on our allocation. And then the total allocation, you can see that all factors combine to see a net increase on the 279 of over $330,000, which is great. The tough part is the last category there, and that's our valuations, right? So the total valuation for the three towns has increased significantly from fiscal year 26. So the required local is up. So in order to get the state subsidy, we have to raise more money locally to get the state subsidy. And we have, unfortunately, no control over that, with the exception of, as we're kind of batting around here, continuing to advocate for changes to that 279, with our legislators. And like I said, it was helpful that Christy submitted testimony just to again advocate for a change in that funding formula, so that we're not requiring so much on local dollars to fund our education or education for our students. So that's kind of the snapshot for the 279. And again, that's very simplistic as far as like how this all works. All of our data that we submit to the state, they take it and run it through this huge algorithm, and then it spits out this information in regards to our state subsidy. So I'm hopeful that that helps in some understanding as to like, we have required dollars that we have to raise locally in order to get the state subsidy, right? And then on top of that, anything beyond what the state gives us for subsidy, we have to then raise locally, and it's called the additional local. And that's the piece that we have control over, right? That's the piece that we've been mindful of when putting this budget together, because we have a minimal, very minimal increase, when it comes to year over year with our budget. So just something, to think about. I mean, I would continue to reach out to our state legislatures for that change. You said, Christy, when is that going to be, the workshop? Monday?
Monday at 10 works. Oh, is it tomorrow or not Monday? Work session is tomorrow at 1 o'clock.
All right. Good to know. Matt, go ahead, bud.
I was just going to ask if this was available to view online.
It is actually. It's if you want, Matt, I can send out like the website if that's helpful for you. You know what I mean?
Yes, please.
Yeah. I mean, sometimes I'll put it up in my office if I'm working on stuff. It's there on another screen, and so you can tune into what's going on. I did that with the testimony, like you did, Christy. It was interesting. There was a lot of
they live stream testimony.
Yeah.
You can watch on any.
That's right. That's right.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
pretty
Then
cool.
all
It
It's
is
actually
cool.
cool if you haven't seen it to check something out.
Yeah.
If there's something that interests you, it's pretty neat to watch.
And all the testimony is uploaded after the fact, so you can, because everybody has to submit written testimony, so you can see it all.
And submitting testimony is interesting too. Yeah.
I guess we'll take a 2-minute break, 2-minute pause. on air.
All right, we're back. Yay. So I made some point. I think that was a good one. And then we were interrupted. So I apologize to those of you guys that are home watching online. Oh, we were interrupted. So now we're back and we're going to continue going forward. Before I move on to the next slide, were there any questions about the changes in regards to the 279? Go for it, Scott.
Just a quick one.
Yeah, bud.
When Augusta decides to do whatever they're going to do with the change, that doesn't affect FY26. That'll be for FY27, hopefully.
28. Yeah.
28.
You got it. Next year is 27, fiscal year 27.
We're stuck on this now. The
That's right.
calculation's correct. That's not changing.
That's correct.
Yep. Thank
Yep.
you.
No problem whatsoever. So yeah, no, good question. Yeah. We'll see where that goes. Any other? Oh boy. All right. Any other questions? Yeah, right, exactly.
Oh, you got another sticker.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. So we jumped up there.
All right. We got to ask some questions.
All right. Okay, I'm going to keep going. All right, slide 23, gang. I know this is really small, but the green bar is just to highlight the state allocation that we received for the service center. That's the one that you guys, well, I think we all were kind of like, wait, if we pay this amount of money, we get this amount of money in state revenue, and there it is. So that has helped extremely, it's helped immensely in our allocation. So, instead of being $270,000 less in our subsidy, that sucked up 70,000 of it. So it's 200,000, which is great. This is very helpful to be a part of that. Just want to make sure you guys are aware, and thank you for your support in being a part of that service center because it's helped out. All right. Slide 24 moves on to revenue, and these will be one-pagers that will be for information. And I'm going to turn that over to Sam from there. The one-pager is this one right here, the nice colorful page here, this one. And Sam, will you start with assessments first, or will you start with revenue?
I will start with revenue.
All right.
Yep. So if you're looking at that sheet, we had the same exact sheet last year, but the revenue side, you've got 3 color bands, and those represent the 3 funds that we've been reviewing and discussing to date, right? So the green represents the general fund revenue. Okay, so these are the 11 cost centers that we reviewed prior to tonight's meeting. And all of the funding sources or allocated revenue lines that support that budget, right? So you should see at the bottom of that general fund total the same amount as the expenditure budget side, so we're balancing the budget with revenue, the same % increase, and we'll do similar to what we did with adult ed and school nutrition. So we've already reviewed in detail the purple and the red. Now we're jumping back to the detail for the general fund. So we'll start with the state allocation like we did with the others. So that's just about halfway down the green section. As Marco noted, you can see that our state allocation from the ED 279 formula is down a little over 270,000 from last year. I mean, that hurts, right? But right below that, the education service center allocation, that's a new line. So there was 0 anticipated revenue dollars for that in FY26 because you all unanimously agreed to support that partnership this year. So that $70,000 of, additional revenue, like Marco said, nets the loss in state funding to about a $200,000 deficit. Okay. Then if we jump all the way up to the top, the required local for each of the 3 towns is listed. And again, these come straight from the preliminary ED 279. So these are the local dollars that we have to commit in order to receive the state dollars that are pledged in the ED 279. So this is where that substantial increase is. If you look at the sum total between Litchfield, Sabattis, and Wales over FY26, we're around $600,000 increase to that required local contribution. I mean, one silver lining that Marco noted, the state did increase our allocation. So they did say this year, we do think it will cost more than last year to educate your students. I think of what Mr. English always used to say. They're just asking us to pay more to get less, right? So then if we look at the other kind of de minimis revenue lines in comparison, if you go halfway down, you'll see the miscellaneous revenue line. We've kept that static this year, so that line represents receipts for, gate fees, basketball game fees, drama club fees, like when people pay to get into our school events. It also represents our interest yields. The line below, state agency clients. That line we've pledged static from last year. And then the bottom four, so laptop repairs, main care reimbursements, carry forward balance, and then CDS revenue. The only thing we've adjusted there is that additional $50,000 of fund balance pledged to the FY27 budget over FY26. So that leaves us with the additional local lines. So that is the 4th, 5th, and 6th lines. And you'll see that because we have, tried earnestly to respond to the request to keep the year-over-year budget expenditure side as low as possible, and the required local is up so much over last year, we actually have a decrease to those additional local dollars for each town. Okay. Questions on those general fund revenue lines?
Would we see any revenue based on our interest for the investment? Where is that? Is that?
Yeah, we will see revenue for that. However, we are seeing an offset. We are phasing out completely our student activity funds. Remember we talked about, not student activity funds, student activity fees. So our pay to play is phased out completely. So we won't see any interest from that.
You're talking about the investments, the CDARs.
The CDARs.
Oh, you're
Yeah.
getting there.
Yep.
I'm sorry.
Yep.
Keep
Just
going.
there's an offset in that line in other receipts that we probably won't receive, I think is what I was saying.
Just to, I think, Scott, your question is, where would we see that interest, right? Where would it go? Would it be? And
I know we put money into.
Yeah.
Was it a CD?
Yeah, you got it.
Yeah.
And so it would go into the miscellaneous revenue. Is that correct?
Yeah,
Sam?
and if you remember, we had built that into last year's budget too. We just didn't bring it to fruition until the vote. So those interest yields won't come to fruition until July of this year as the first 6-month one,
Yep.
because we didn't bring it back to the board for a vote until January. So it was built in anticipation last year that we were hoping to get that extra miscellaneous revenue, and we have a decrease in the student activity fees as well. So we didn't adjust that line up as far as anticipated revenue.
And would it be not until we know exactly what we do, or do we know with the CDARs if we know exactly what we'll get for
Yeah,
it?
we should know what that
All right.
yield is. Yep.
Just because, like to Scott's question, so we won't realize that money until July, but we've basically put a placeholder there, as far as the miscellaneous revenue is concerned.
Yeah. Let me try to say it a little bit differently. We had planned for it this year, so that revenue line will come in under what we expected or anticipated for revenue this year. So rather than increasing what we expect, I think we'll just hit the mark next year. Is that a better way to explain that?
Yeah.
Okay.
Knowing that it's falling under miscellaneous was really. I was looking for a separate line item.
Oh, I see.
I guess, but
But-
no, that's okay.
Sometimes I'm trying to process my answers while you're still asking the question, so I just
Yep.
need to stop doing that.
Right, I know he's going to walk out of here. Yeah, just give him a sheet right now. Okay. Any questions about the revenue side of things, guys?
Marco?
You got it, bud. What's up, Robbie?
Sam, can you explain the required local, how much that would change if the budget was lower?
It wouldn't.
That's what I thought. It wouldn't.
only if we changed the budget so dramatically that it was less than what the ED 279 gave us for an allocation,
Right.
which is over 18 million, around 18 million. So if we adjusted the budget by 5.5 million, then we wouldn't have to pay as much required local because we wouldn't need as much state allocation.
Right.
But that's not realistic, so it wouldn't.
Okay, that's what I was getting at. So that driver is evaluations of all 3 towns is how they get how the state gets to that number. So if we lower the budget, let's say even if we lowered it by 150, 200,000, it would come off the local requirement, not
The additional local.
the
Yeah,
additional local, not,
Not the required.
required local.
that's correct.
Okay.
Yeah, and remember that those are different warrants when we get to the budget meeting.
Right.
I always like to think of it, I've got like mnemonic devices that help me remember these things.
Yeah.
You know, it's like the required local, it's required so that you can get the state subsidy, the state money. That's how I always remember that, is it's required
Right.
to get that, right? Anything above and beyond that is additional. Thank you.
Just realized you got a sticker.
I didn't even ask a question. It was for the class. I shared it for the class, yeah. Yeah. All right. How you guys doing? Everybody good? We're getting
Wonderful.
punchy. It's good. I like
So
it.
on this sheet, though, remember, we already reviewed the purple and the red. We did that when we went over each fund. Are we ready to flip and look at assessment?
Yeah.
Okay, so
Let's
if you
flip.
For my own
flip that.
just for my own
Oh,
personal
sorry.
knowledge, why is there a fund balance for nutrition and not for adult ed?
That's a
because
good
it
question.
doesn't have anything to pledge. That budget is so razor thin, there's never like a leftover amount. In fact, it's run in the red in years past, so there's no money to pledge to offset.
But if it like say we offered a bunch of enrichment and got a bunch of extra revenue, it would
Yeah,
could
sure.
generate.
Sure, if we generated more revenue than our expenditures, it could. Yep.
Man's on a roll.
Do you just want the rest of
That's
the
what I said. Give him the sheet.
Give me that.
Then he can
Al.
put them on. All right, Sam, go for it. Assessments.
So this is just a different way on the backside of looking at, what we're asking each of the towns to contribute to support all of the programming and, education within the RSU. So this assessment sheet is absent the state allocation, absent all of the de minimis revenue lines that contribute to the overall total for the general fund and adult ed, et cetera. This is really just the breakdown of the pledge from the towns, right? So you can see, what we're asking for the tax promise from Litchfield, Sabattis, and Wales. So you can see, if you kind of hearken back to one of the very first things we talked about, those information from the towns, the 27 different SAUs, and we had said for tax increase year over year, the minimum was 1.44, the maximum was 17.5, and the average was 7.95. So you can see that the increase asked to taxes is well below that average as well, right? So for Litchfield, we're asking for 4.4% more. And again, these are estimates, right? Based on, the bottom is estimates. So we'll get to that in a second. Sabattis, 4.71%. And Wales 4.75% over. And then overall, all the towns combined, we're asking for 4.58% more in tax assessment for the FY27 budget that we've presented. The bottom part is where it gets, personal for households, right? So this is based on the most recent completed tax calculation sheet from each of the towns. So how much does it cost to raise a mill, an additional mill? That gives us an estimated mill rate increase, and then if you applied that to a home value of 200 or 300 or 400,000 in each of the towns, that would be the estimated annual increase to the tax bill for the school portion. Okay. Teresa?
What's the plan? I know, Marco, you meet with town officials or town managers for them to see something like this.
Yeah, we have standing meetings Thursday after our budget meetings and basically explain the night's information. Last night's information. Tonight's information tomorrow. Does that make sense? So Thursday at 1 p.m. So that's with town managers and select board members are welcome to attend those meetings too. So I put that information out each week just to remind them that it's happening.
But so if they don't attend the meeting, they don't see this.
I'll let you answer in just a second. But with that being said, what was I going to say? There was something I was going to say. I'm sorry, Teresa. Obviously, like I think I'm relying on the town managers to bring the information back. But that's, that's not necessarily their job, right? To do that. I don't know. We're going to add something to that.
Just remember, everything that we review goes live on the website the next day. So all of this information will be public and accessible. We just don't release it until you all have had your deliberation and discussion about it, and then we post it to the website. So it'll be there for anybody to access by tomorrow morning.
Did you have a suggestion, Teresa? Just thinking about.
I wouldn't want to speak on behalf of the town officials. I just know there were some questions they're wondering. Not
Sure.
them necessarily. I get asked, so where are we at?
Mm-hmm. I'm happy. And you know what I could do too, Teresa, is I'm happy. Like tomorrow, I'll see obviously, Kelly, and I could ask about coming over. Like, would it be helpful to come over and explain the information to the town officials where we're at, what's happening, that kind of stuff. I mean, I'm happy to do that. That wouldn't be an issue.
Well, but does Kelly get this information?
He does.
Okay,
Yes.
so he can. That's what my question. Because I know you had a meeting and just Sharon.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah. The So just to update you on Teresa. Last week we had both Litchfield and Wales in attendance, which was great. And so yes, and we did have a select board member and budget. Yeah, the budget. Yeah, committee. Yeah, chair. So just like I said, we try to get his in so that they can get that information out. Maybe I'm just sitting in a spot that's not great, but anyway, once you give out a sticker, you can't take the sticker back. That's not okay. Anyway, with that being said, I was just gonna say that I'm happy to take it on the road too, right? Like if that's helpful, I have no issue with that.
Maybe if Sabatis doesn't come to one of those meetings, maybe reach
Sure.
out.
Yeah. I mean, I could have a meeting with Raquel. I mean, or invite any of the select board members over. That'd be great. Happy to do it. Go ahead, Christy.
To that point, I think if we want to spread the word about the budget, we may want to think about a different way to get information out to people. Like typically we've always said, okay, we're going to put it on the website and you're more than welcome to come to these meetings, or we held workshops at one of the schools. Perhaps we need to think about different places to go.
The other thing is too, like we could create a video. I mean, just like a quick 5-minute, overview of the budget. At least that way it would give people an idea of what they're, it'd just be another way of getting the information out.
Or just hold like a coffee hour at the like at Percy's Hardware, or like places that people from the town go.
Right?
Because I think the piece that we're missing is that the townspeople don't feel like they have a relationship with the district unless they have students in the school. And even if they do have students in the school, they may not feel like they have a connection.
Yeah.
So how can we build community
I appreciate that.
before we ask for this large sum of tax dollars?
Mm-hmm.
Just a thought.
No, I think it's great. I appreciate that. Yeah.
And I like the video because a lot of people go on Facebook or whatever.
Yeah, no, I appreciate it. Any way we can get the word out, that's great. Like coffee hour, that would be fun, right?
Traveling little roadshow.
Sure, traveling roadshow.
I don't have enough coffee. Yeah.
Wait, you're not going to share? Is that what you're saying?
It's a little guy. I don't have
Oh, look at that. Right. Okay. Anyway, let's get back to it.
Back to it.
Where are we anyway?
That's a good question.
Okay, are we done with revenue? Did you go through the assessment piece? You did already. Yeah, I'm sorry. I'm like,
she went through the entire.
Yeah.
Yep.
No.
Oh, you lost it. That's it. No sticker for you.
Instead of just I'm getting lost in some stuff here. That's all. Go ahead. What were you gonna say, Nicole?
I was gonna say, so I mean, we're through 6.4 now, right? And that brings us to
Yes.
6.5.
Yeah. Can we pause real quick before we jump to 6.5? Is that okay? I didn't say pause and take a break. I just needed to. I wanted to make sure that people were aware of some dates and such. That's all. Is that okay? Just regarding the budget.
Sure.
Yeah, just so as part of the process, right? Like we have all of our budget meetings and the timeline, presented ahead of time. So one of the things that we wanted to bring up was the potential of holding an earlier budget meeting.
Budget vote.
Yeah, public budget meeting. And the reason for that is to work with the towns because there's a fair amount of work that has to go into preparing for the budget referendum timelines on their ends of things. So we've had a request from the town managers to help out with that. So just something to think about. And I say that because by doing so, it would help as far as preparation is concerned for that referendum in June. So if we do an earlier meeting, the 29th of April, what that means is that we would need to be done with our stuff within the next 2 meetings. So we have one scheduled obviously for the 25th. We do have one if needed for April 1st. But what we would want to do is make sure that we had all of our decisions ready to go, and then we can bring the warrants on the 8th of April. And then we would have our a public budget meeting on the 29th. So just thinking timeline there. The thing, it helps out as far as the towns are concerned, so that's good. The thing I don't want to do is rush anybody into doing anything as far as decisions. So I just want to put that out there. So, and see where people might be with that, or ask any questions about what I'm muttering at this point.
Yeah, the meeting tomorrow is not for budget, so we're not including that one.
No, that's okay. No worries.
There's been a lot of meetings, so.
Yeah, right. Exactly. Any questions about that? I mean, is anybody opposed to it? I mean, we're in good shape. You guys have done an excellent job as far as asking the questions and going through the information. You know what I mean? And I don't know. It's been a solid process, and I appreciate your help in it. But we could be ready for the meeting on the 29th. I don't know how people are feeling, I guess.
So what that means, though, right, is you're gonna need to provide direction with what you want to see in that final number, based on everything
Right.
that we've been
Decisions.
talking about all of these weeks. SRRF, field hockey, SRO officer. Well, that's redundant because O is officer. I always do that. Anything else that has come up, anything you want to take out, anything where we want that final number to land.
Mm-hmm.
So we'll need to be able to provide direction to Marco and Sam, maybe have our final data requests tonight.
I think even next week would be okay.
Well, I would be cautious of data requests next week, though. Right.
No, that's fair.
But I mean, next week maybe if they were not, the ones Sam's still working on, nothing too intense.
Mm-hmm.
Excuse me. And then final discussion next week, and some additional discussion for
And
one if
decisions
needed.
for April.
If 4-1's
1st,
not on the books yet, right? It's tentative, right?
Mhm.
It would be
if needed.
if needed. It's not currently on the calendar, but it's possible we could have. And then 4-8, you'd be asked to vote. So think through that if you think that's something we could do. Also knowing that it's 8:30 and we still have quite a bit to get through.
No, it's not bad. We'll be good.
SRRF.
Oh yeah, that'll be a quick one.
So we could ask at the end if you want to mull it over. Think through that. The only other option would be 5:13. So
we should push.
Yes.
I would suggest we book April 1st for our final the day that we vote, because that gives us time if we need information from Sam, and we're still waiting on some information that might inform where we want to go for the 25th. So I would suggest booking the first for our final budget
Workshop,
/
budget
meeting, whatever we
workshop,
want it to call it.
or a special meeting.
Special meeting, yeah, so we can vote.
Yeah, 'cause you can't vote at a workshop. So you're thinking you'd even vote for one rather than for 8? Leave it as an option. Anybody?
Right. Right.
Yeah.
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 Again, not rushing anybody, right? Like,
Yeah, we definitely don't want to rush you. But we wouldn't be able to have a May 6th, I think it was, right? The 429 56. It would have to be 513. I'm out of state May 6th, and we just don't think it's appropriate to have a public budget vote when I am not available. So that's where we're at, those 2 dates. Yeah. Okay, so think it over. We could ask at the end. Were you going to say something, Doug?
No.
You need a sticker?
oh, our stickers
I
are
know, you've
gone.
been so quiet tonight. So then that goes to our SRRF old business item.
Yeah. So Libby Tozier Secure Vestibule Project discussion. So I just wanted to bring this forward so that we could talk further about it, answer any questions that might be there. We did talk about it at Finance and Facilities last meeting, at the subcommittee meeting, which was good. We just kicked it around further, but just looking for, further direction. Just a reminder, the project is split, as far as what we're on the hook for between local dollars and state dollars. It's secure vestibule, so it upgrades the entrance to the building and sight lines, safety and security aspect of things, aesthetics, I guess, to a certain extent. So just, want to just, kind of take your temperature on it. And again, I don't know if it helped, just that further information about the tax dollars and the debt service, and, if we were to move away from the building at some point in time, knowing that debt service would go to the town. So, just I guess want to put it out there for discussion, see where you guys are at with it. Go ahead, Christy.
Okay, so the expectation would be that the district pays $286,047.
Yeah, is that the number that's there?
That's what I'm looking at, yeah.
Yeah.
And then the length of the loan, is it 10 years? Because it says loan more than $500,000, which we're not. So what would be our...
Oh, that's a good question, Sam. Project amount. That's what it is. So the
Okay,
total project
so
amount.
it would be over 10 years.
It would be 10 years.
10 years for the loan.
Yeah.
Would we be penalized if we paid it off early?
No. No.
And is it interest free?
It is interest free.
Okay.
Anybody?
No, you're good.
else?
No worries.
Discussion. Go ahead, Doug.
Yes, this kind of went back to sets us up for that long-standing debate of what do we do about Libby Tozier
Mm-hmm.
before we kind of keep throwing or bringing up large chunks of money, but we don't have the big conversation because it's going to take a lot to talk about what to do, right?
Mm-hmm.
Is this budget proposed inclusive
It is.
of all of the monies that would be necessary?
It's the $30,000 loan payment. That's what's in the budget currently. And I think if you guys recall, somebody had asked for some information around the cost for testing for hazardous materials. Remember, that was not included in that. And so Sean put that together. I do believe that's in the packet. If it's not, thanks so much, Robbie. Appreciate it. It's, yeah, the maximum would be $2,500 to do that testing. At least that's the way we would know, right? Like, are we in it for a lot more? Just, given the hazardous materials that may be present. But that's nice. At least it's not I think that was your question, Matt, wasn't it, last week?
Yeah, it was, and I don't remember, but what was the speed at which that could be done?
Yeah,
Timeline?
April break.
And 2
Yeah.
weeks for the results.
And then a couple weeks for the results, which is good. I mean, it's pretty quick. So,
So the proposed budget of the 1.49 that you talked about at the start of the meeting includes this project. And we have until what date to accept it? It was June?
you need to.
End of
can
July.
you grab a microphone, Sam? Just want to make sure that. Oh, you gotta turn it on.
Yeah.
No, you gotta turn
Yeah.
it on.
It's 6 months from the award date, so that puts us at July, which is why the referendum would be concurrent with the June 9th,
Mhm.
if you chose to do it. So that we would have the results of whether the public approved the SRF.
Before we have to.
Yeah, before
That's
we-
what I was
yeah.
wondering, if we just, if we keep it in.
Just in case.
That way you don't have to get up again. If we keep it in and then present it and get the public vote on it and then
I like that.
decide it and then, whether accept or decline. And that doesn't change, Doug, what you said. I hear you. I think
That's
we
true.
all still need to have that conversation. Unfortunately, it's not a 26-27 conversation, right? We need probably another committee, a lot of discussion, a lot of information.
Yeah, but it is a discussion to have now, because
Sure.
you're entering into something for 10 years, right? So you have to think ahead. You have to think where. So in the past 10 years, we've gone down 20% in our student population. So what does the next 10 years look like, right?
Mhm.
So are we going to lose another 20% in our student population?
Right.
Who knows? It could increase by 30%.
Which would be great.
It would for for revenue as far as the state participation, but
Mhm.
it's also a strain on the budget.
That's
for-
right.
So it goes kind of both ways, but and I really wonder. I mean, looking at the capital improvement plan, there seems to me that there's items on here that would be more important than a new vestibule. For instance, the roof and a $950,000 electrical panel upgrade. Actually, more than that, because there's 2 panels, so there's an additional $200,000. So I kind of wonder if our money is being spent in the appropriate way. And I know we geared this grant request towards something, thinking that this is most likely to
get
be
approved.
approved, but. Yeah, it was doing it to get the funds, but are we doing it? Where could we spend the money that might be more better spent? I don't know. It's kind of where I'm thinking. I'm trying to think ahead. I don't like to make decisions about today or tomorrow. I'm trying to think ahead and where are we
Yeah.
going to be in 10 years or even 5 years from now.
I don't think a roof was an option, though. I think that was part of our.
No, it wasn't. But we're still spending $30,000 a year for a loan over 10 years, when potentially we could,
Put
spend
that
money
towards
for a roof.
the roof.
I don't know. But we are also into it well over $20,000 at this point, just in investigating and submitting
Mhm.
submitting our
application.
our applications and so on. So I hate to lose that, but at the same time, it's like, I don't know. This is a tricky one, and I think it's deeper than it appears. This isn't an easy decision, I don't think.
Robbie and then Diane.
Yeah, well, I know when they brought us the list of projects, we decided safety was going to be a concern. That's why we did the vestibule piece. And and Scott's right, that was the easiest way for us
Mhm.
to get accepted by the grant, was because of the safety piece of it. So I guess in my mind, we're putting safety over dollars again. That $30,000 a year for 10 years over the safe piece. So whether we stay in the building or don't stay in the building, that's a discussion we need to have. But my point being is, it's still, we decided that we were going to spend the money on the vestibule because of the safety aspect of it.
Sorry, refresh my memory real quick. I thought, in terms of the roof, that was one of the things that we were applying for the funds for, but it didn't qualify.
Yeah,
Or we were hopeful that it would.
we were hoping that it would, but
Okay.
when we had Harriman take a look at the structural integrity of the building, there was nothing, or of the roof, nothing was failing. You know what I mean, or in such disrepair that it would qualify for
For
this project, an
particular-
SRF fund. Yep.
Go ahead, Diane.
I have a question. So we're putting this money into the vestibule, but our panel for electrical needs to be replaced at some point. Will there be enough to have this project? Will it be able to be done?
Yeah, I
with
see what you're
we have
saying.
for the electrical plant?
I mean, I would think so, only because there's currently like a locking mechanism there. Do you know what I mean? That's powered by a 1995 computer that sits underneath somebody's desk, right? So like, but yes, I mean, I don't think there's any concern in regards to like the power capacity to, have the actuator, actually work. Do you know what I mean? Correctly, or an intercom, or any lighting that needs to be in there. I don't think there's any issue with that, Diane. Yeah.
So we mentioned earlier that if we were to get rid of the building, if there was debt involved, you had talked about that the town would actually end up owning that building along with debt. Does the SRRF follow those same guidelines? Would that same debt go over?
Yeah.
It's,
Yes.
an SRRF, or is it
Any debt.
any debt?
Any debt. Sam, is there anything that would, anything that you can think of that would preclude that? And I don't mean just the SRF stuff, but any other debt that you can think of that wouldn't?
No, I don't believe so. I mean, I can double check, but we did just look into this because at the time that we were considering closing Sabatis Primary School, we did have an open and approved ADA project for SRF dollars. So we asked all these questions at that time. And what we were told then is that if there's a transfer of ownership to the town, so like remember that the town could say no, it doesn't want to take the building, but then you have the option to sell, right? So if the transfer of ownership is the way that it goes, then the town takes on the associated debt with the building and property.
Thanks, Sam. Appreciate it.
And I just think with taxpayers in mind, right? I mean, I'm from Wales, but I do think about the taxpayers in Litchfield,
Mm-hmm.
Sabatis. Like, if the building were to exchange hands and go back to them, I mean, I feel like a secure vestibule would be something that they don't necessarily want or care about, whereas a roof would be of a higher importance. But,
Sure.
not only that, from a resale value, like if they did decide to sell the building, putting money into a roof or some of these other things is more important and may end up yielding a higher revenue on the resale side.
Yeah.
Versus,
Yeah.
I don't, just because this is more focused on a school, and
Yeah.
I mean, don't get me wrong, I'm a huge safety guy, and we see that tonight, right? But I just I don't know.
Yeah, no, I hear you. It's
Very
like
much on the fence on this one.
totally, and I'm glad. I mean, I'm glad that you are, but I'm glad that you're asking the questions, Scott. Right? Like, I mean, I think it's an important debate to have, and I think it's one of those things that we have to think about. Like you said, is it a roof? Is it an electrical panel? No, it's not those things. But what it is it's an improved entryway. I understand obviously like it's safety and security, but it's an improved entryway, which would, in my mind, and again, what do I know about values of building? But it would help enhance the value of the building. The other thing is too, when we talk about offering up a building. One of those offerings can be to other school entities, right? So that may be a selling point to a school that would be moving. Like again, it could be a charter school or, a school. What's the word I'm looking for? So like a religious-based school or something along those.
Private.
Yeah, exactly. Daycare, something along those lines. So that might be an attractive selling point, and that's because I think there's a. Correct me if I'm wrong, Sam. There's a protocol, as far as like who you can offer it to and, who has first dibs. And a lot of times it can be school entities that might be interested in moving in. So just, again, something to think about there. I think, Matt, did you have something?
I think Sam might have answered it, but it was kind of piggybacking off of Scott's question about if we do vacate the school at any point, 5 years, 6 years, 7 years, the SRRF funds side of it, not what we're on the hook for, but the grant funds, does that negate, or does that cancel and we have to pay back the project to, okay.
No.
No. Go ahead there, Doug.
I
Sorry,
think another
Nicole.
factor with this is the SRRF. Once we take this, we can't take another one for the next 5 years.
No.
There's a maximum threshold for the amount that you're able to borrow from the fund, I think, per school over a number of years, but we're not near that right now.
Okay.
I can
I
find
remember
the
there
details
being
for you. Yep, I can
something.
find the details on that for you, but I don't think we're in jeopardy of maxing it out.
Okay.
Mhm.
So another way to put it, though, is if we don't take this, that opens up the amount of funds that we do have available to use for an SRRF in the future. If, say, we decide to do something else next year in lieu of Libby Tozier.
Yes.
If we apply,
But you have to
which-
apply again.
which we have to pay for,
and
right?
You have to pay for it.
And we're approved.
Yeah.
Those are those two
Yeah.
things. Go ahead,
Just-
Sam. Did you have some info?
Yep. So the maximum loan amount is $2 million per priority building, so not for the district, per building over any 5-year period.
Thank you, Sam. Holy
Yeah.
smokes. Um,
Go ahead, Teresa.
I agree that this is a hard one. My head says we should be saving this money to do other improvements that are more needed. But then my heart goes, this is where our most vulnerable little children are. Our other schools have a safety situation like what this grant would do. Which one weighs more heavily for me is I can't say, oh, geez, I'm going to save the money. Oh, no, there's an incident. Someone gets hurt. Something happens. Someone comes in. I can't take that back.
mm.
So that's worrisome for me is to say no to this when we had the opportunity and we've already invested. And it is a possibility we could still reuse that building if our enrollment shrinks. We could bring in maybe special ed kids that we have to send out, like we had talked about, that we don't have a place for here. Reorganize pre-K over there. Maybe central office if it shrinks so much. I don't know. And sell this. So that's where I am.
Appreciate it, Teresa. Thank you for your thoughts.
Go ahead, Christy.
I think the other piece too is I don't even remember how many years ago it was at a public budget hearing. People saying, "Have we exhausted all state funding that we could go for?" And our answer at the time was no, because we hadn't applied for these grants. So I think where I'm landing is we have to put it out to referendum. We have to ask the taxpayers if they want to take on this burden. And I feel like we've done our due diligence in terms of working with Harriman's to put together the proposal and to identify what we believed at the time was the highest priority. It did get funded. Now we ask the taxpayers whether or not they want to take on this burden or not. And that's why I asked the question about being able to pay it back early without a penalty, because if we were to get rid of Libby Tozier, I think we could do some due diligence if we had the capacity to be able to pay off the remainder so the town wouldn't have to take on. It's not a huge, like looking at the entire budget, it's not a huge amount of money. We're not talking millions and millions of dollars. So that's where I'm at.
Mm-hmm.
I also get asked a lot about grants and stuff, but I think people are looking for 100% funded grants and not something that's going to further increase their tax burden. But I don't know. As far as safety is concerned, I mean, we should probably be clear. It's not like the building is wide open, right? Like, it's safe right now. I mean, you're just increasing safety, but it's not like it's not safe. And perhaps there's some things we could do to increase safety, like cameras and better doors or on the exterior and improved card access. But does it really mean a whole entire new vestibule? I don't know.
Does Harriman have a visual of what this would look like completed and how it differs?
We saw a floor plan.
I think, yeah, they did. I'm trying to think, Sam.
I feel like the floor plan was just
No, but
You want like a 3D model?
no,
like just
Yeah.
no, I don't think we would. Yeah, I don't know. And we don't have anything at this moment. That's for sure. Yeah.
so. I mean, I'm of the mindset that if we are even going to consider closing Libby Tozier, which I don't think it's not in my frame of mind at any time soon, understanding that we have to project at least 5 to 10 years, I don't think that within the next 5 years that's something that I would vote for, given the information that we have and the enrollment that we have, and the fact that we did decrease our buildings with the Sabatis primary transfer, but we did not increase class sizes, right? And any let go of any additional building will require class size increases. So that's where I'm at, and I'm of the mindset that, let's put it to the voters, see if it's something that they want to proceed with, but also that I think investing in Libby Tozier is a good idea.
Can I just quickly respond? I agree. I don't want to downsize a building. I think that's not necessarily a good idea because we don't know what the future holds. We might have an increase. I mean, there's already talks about some, multi-unit units going into Sabatis, like quite a few of them, which could increase. But I mean, what other option do you have? We saw a great reduction in this budget because we closed the building, and based on annual increases, which they're going to have to happen every single year, you're going to get to a point where you're going to have to make a big cut again. And we all know it's not going to come from certain areas within the budget, right? So where else do you cut?
I just want to make sure that we're clear, like that. The closing of the school, that savings was in last year's budget or this year's budget, just to make sure. Yeah. So like the numbers that we have now and how we've been able to, get where we're at is, obviously we've done different things to cut that down.
Mm-hmm.
Well, we're seeing a rollover of those savings into this budget.
Well, you're not
Correct.
paying for your
Correct.
utilities on the budget.
Utilities,
That's
heat,
right.
Yeah,
Yep.
all those.
No, you're right.
extras, right.
Right. That's correct.
So
Yeah. Yeah, I would say it's similar in the sense of like when we talk about positions, right? I mean, you're not paying overtime, right? I mean, you're seeing the one-time decrease in this budget, and then moving forward, right? Like realizing those dollars as far as not paying salary and insurance and things like that. So it does. Yep.
Right, but your year-over-year savings decreases, right?
Mhm.
Yeah.
And if we continue to see annual increases every time a contract negotiation happens, and that's your biggest driver to the budget. It's the number one driver.
Mhm.
Like where at some point.
That and health insurance.
And health insurance is big, but it's not as big as payroll. But I mean,
No, payroll's the biggest.
at some point, where do you make this doesn't seem like a significant cut, but I mean, you're talking $100 annually, close to $200 annually for some people.
Oh, sorry.
Next year, and then next year, and next year, and where
Mhm.
are you in 10 years? We just need to be mindful of what we're doing to.
I think we're doing a good job of it. That's for
One-
sure. Go ahead.
But the majority of that increase, Scott, we have no control over because it's evaluation of the state.
I agree. I understand.
You know.
I understand, but at the same time, it's
Oh,
That's what we
I
can
definitely
control.
get it, but I'm just saying I would love to have control over those numbers, but if they change the funding formula, maybe.
yeah. I mean, and you're right, Micro. Maybe we'll get another 200 students in another year or two, but then you're hiring more staff and more transportation and everything else has to
Everything
go up along with
increases.
that. Like, yeah, you're getting more from the state, but you're also having to spend more to get more.
Yep.
It is.
Yeah.
Could we find out what the safety feature is so much better than what we currently have, or what it exactly changes for safety?
Yeah. I mean, I do believe it's in here.
How much more secure are we going to be?
I'd be curious too,
you-
statistically, like what schools see the most amount of issues, like safety concerns, right? Is it middle school level, high school level? Is it elementary school level?
So I think it's a
Not
roll
saying
of the
that one
dice.
should be more secure than the other, but
It depends on any given day, unfortunately.
yeah, but statistically, I'm assuming here, but it seems like it probably is middle to high school, but
That are
Scott,
so what?
I don't think we can know that. Sandy Hook was a primary school,
yeah,
Yeah.
and plenty of high schools have been, So I think it's like Marco said, it's kind of a roll of the dice.
it's sure,
So-
of course it is.
You know?
And
I was-
I mean, if it was up to me, we would have, every school would be like Fort Knox, okay? But it's
So I was going to say that maybe if it helps, Teresa, there is in the Harriman documents, there is a whole section here on the architectural aspects of things that might be helpful in regards to like the upgrades. I can read them. They're small. I can read them though, if that's
I was-
helpful.
I think
was
I have a.
thinking more
Oh, you have a
I think
bigger
I have
one.
a real life size version.
How do you have a bigger one?
I don't know.
Huh, interesting. Go ahead.
I'm good with just an opinion of you how much safer this would make it.
Well, it
for
makes it so
someone.
that it's secure and there's a transactional window and there's sight lines to the actual parking lot, right? So like right now when people approach that building, you can't see. You can't see out. I mean, if you stood up from where, how the office is orientated and you craned out the window to look to see if you could see the entryway, you might be able to see somebody standing there, right? The reality is that by doing this project, it makes so that there's a transactional window that looks right out onto the parking lot there, right? And so with that being said, there are a new set of doors that would be put into place in the front so that when you were buzzed in, you hit an intercom button, the intercom button would buzz the office, the secretary or the administrative assistant can look directly out at the person and, talk to them and then ask them to come in. They get buzzed in to this vestibule, which basically is just a entryway, right? There they can have a conversation, they can do all of their transaction as far as like whatever they might need. And then if they need to be buzzed into the building, there's another set of doors that are secure. Like you can't open them without being buzzed into those doors. The middle school has this feature already, and so if they want to, most of the transaction can happen through that window. Just thinking about it again, like where my kids go to school, that's what they have. Like I can't get into the building. If I need my kid, they're going to bring my kid out to me. So just it's not set up that way now. It's just not great sight lines. There's only one buzzer, so if they let somebody in, that person can get into the entirety of the building, and there's no recourse, unless you ask them to leave and they comply. So just, as far as the upgrade is concerned, that's what it would be,
Yeah, that second sort of double doors doesn't lock.
Yeah, Marco, if we don't do that, though, at some point we're going to have to redo the doors because the pictures they're showing here, they're all rusted.
Yeah.
Well,
So-
that's part of the reason that we received the project was
Yeah,
because
and
the doors
I
aren't
would
great.
agree.
I think your
that's
mic
the
turned
only
off.
school that.
Oh, you
she's
got
got
her?
it.
Okay, thanks.
That's the only school that does not have a vestibule.
Right, it doesn't.
Were you gonna say something, Doug?
Well,
Go for it.
Carrie Ricker's vestibule isn't quite to the level that Marco just described for
Mhm.
Libby Tozier. That's
Mhm.
not quite the same.
Neither is a high school.
Yeah.
Right, the high school. Yeah,
Yeah, the high school's in there. Yeah,
Yeah.
right.
But you still have that entrance.
there is a.
There is. Yeah.
There is, yeah. It's more like
You can let them in,
briefly.
but only partially. In all
Yeah, but
three
when
other
you,
buildings.
I mean, right now, like at the middle school, even if the vestibule doesn't exist, if you go there during the middle of the day for a transaction, there's a camera at the door. They see who it is. You have a conversation with them. Why couldn't you vet the person there on the
Mhm.
exterior before? I don't know.
Yeah.
So not trying to rush a decision at all. This is not a discussion item anyway. It's
Right.
not a motion. Just where you think you might be landing on this. I need a thumbs up, proceed, keep it in, go to vote, thumbs down, take it out.
I would say, just if this helps, like, I would propose, like, even if it doesn't move forward, that we keep the money in there to help projects, that are that would be
Spending
ongoing.
the
So
money
just
elsewhere.
I don't know if people would be like, but sorry, I just wanted to throw that out.
No, that's a good point. Kind of goes to what Scott was saying, whether we would leave it there or move it to the capital improvement fund. But I will have to have a motion in 3 minutes, so I'm trying to push this discussion along. So thumbs up, keep it in, bring it to vote. Thumbs down. Anybody? All right. No, you have your marching orders.
I appreciate the discussion, you guys. It's a good one. I appreciate you guys being thorough with it.
Yeah.
All right, let's keep it rolling. Do you want to do a motion? Is it 9 yet? We have to do
I
a
got
motion?
3 minutes,
All
2.5 minutes.
All right, let's go quick. 6.6 to approve the 26-27 school calendar.
There is no
moved.
such thing as quick.
Second.
Discussion.
I just really, the school calendar is pretty well set, and I say that just in the sense of like vacations and days for workshops and such. And I think we talked about this a little bit in regards to the Career and Technical Education Center, so LRTC. We can't be dissimilar. 5 days from all the sending school districts, so that meets that requirement. Something I do want to point out to you guys, and I think I did this the last time we talked about this, was in November. Our meetings are usually the 2nd and 4th. However, in November, Veterans Day and there's a workshop, not a workshop day, a comp day on the 25th. So that would be the 2nd and 4th. So we move those board meeting dates to the 1st and the 3rd so that we could actually have meetings. Otherwise, if we do stick with the 2nd and the 4th, we can't meet on Veterans Day. And the 25th is a no school day.
Right. We'd have no meetings.
We'd
in
have no
November.
meetings in
We don't want to do that.
November.
I've never seen 2 weeks of vacation during Christmas.
That was this year,
Yeah.
Diane.
Well,
That was
except
this year.
for, yeah, because I have never seen it as a teacher.
Really? You're kidding me,
Never.
Diane. Holy smokes. It was great, she
Yeah,
said.
I just wondered why we weren't going to school on Monday and Tuesday.
Yeah, those are those dissimilar days. So there are, like, Lewiston's going, Auburn's going, Turner's 52's going. I mean, they're all doing the same thing, sorry, Scott.
This is kind of a nitpicky thing, I guess.
Go for it.
Why is Juneteenth on the calendar when we are already out of school at that point in time?
Just in case. And I say that just to, like, and this may be a discussion item, not obviously for tonight, but if we ever went to fully, like, regular snow days, traditional snow days, then it might bump into that, which we would then need to be thinking about because there would be a cost that's incurred with that. And I say that as far as paying hourly staff for a holiday, things of that
Federal
nature.
holiday, we might be in session still.
Right.
Potentially, yeah, if we
Right.
did traditionals.
That's why I know those. Sorry, but
That's quite a few snow days, right? Yeah, okay. That's the answer to my question. Thank you.
you're welcome.
So our students will have 8 days of school before Labor Day.
Oh yeah, yeah. It's late this year. Yeah, yep. So you've got August, right? Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and then that following Monday, then the first week of September. You won't have Labor Day until the 7th. That's correct.
Wow, that
Yeah.
is
So it'll be
interesting.
3-day week, 5-day week, 4-day week.
That's right.
Yeah.
Well, it's nice to build it back in, but kids are excited at that time of year.
Any further discussion on our school calendar? I'm at 9:01. As soon as we're done with this, we
Yeah,
have the
we'll
motion.
vote.
Because then we can't do 7.
Okay.
I'm just
I
making sure
have to
keep
say, I
track of the
applaud
clock.
our district for doing remote because as a teacher,
I know.
when you
That's
have a
tough,
snow day and the kids, you end up making it in June, it is very difficult to do anything with kids. And I know there are parents who complain about it, but I have 3 grandchildren
balance.
who are getting work done who would probably are doing more than they would be doing in June.
It's a balance. I mean, I appreciate it, Diane. Yeah.
Go ahead, Scott.
So that being said, June 14th is Flag Day. That's not on the calendar. And I know it's not a federal holiday, but should it be added?
I mean, that's why it's not a federal holiday. I don't know. That's a good question.
We always used to do it.
Well,
Yeah,
no.
We've always. Is it what day of the week is it?
It would be Monday, right? What's
No, June 14th is a Monday.
It's a Monday. But it's not a federal holiday. I don't think this captures all holidays. I think it just captures the...
But past calendars have had Flag Day on.
Did it?
Yep.
Because we always celebrate.
Well, we recognized
see.
it as a district.
Oh, I see.
I mean, you just wouldn't color it.
I mean, I
So-
can add it to the list
How-
if you'd like.
Yeah, you could add it
Scott?
to the list, but
As
you
like
wouldn't
June
color it.
14th is
Yes,
Flag
June
Day. Would
Yeah.
that be? I'm happy to do that. I don't think there's a. No,
That's May.
I don't. You being silly? Okay.
My birthday.
Your birthday, Scott's birthday.
Any other discussion regarding our calendar?
It's an easy one to add, Scott.
Thank you, Marco.
Yeah, no problem.
All right. Hearing nothing further, I'm going to call for the vote. All those in favor?
Nice job, everybody.
Thank you. Unanimous.
All right, good job. Let's vote. Vote
All
for
right.
keeping it rolling, gang.
Motion to extend. I motion to extend our meeting this evening to allow for the rest of the agenda.
So moved.
Second.
Mr. Springer, he's hung in there.
Discussion. We didn't vote. Discussion. All those in favor? All right, it's unanimous. We are now on to, yes, you did hang in there. Good. 7, new business to approve a trip to Boston for the Oak Hill High School JMG class to attend a science fair and a Red Sox game on April 8th, 2026.
So moved.
Second.
Discussion.
Robbie's willing to go as a chaperone. That's great.
I guess the obvious one's the same as we always ask. Like, what's the cost? And
Yeah, so we have the opportunity for a couple of handfuls of our students. The Red Sox put on the STEM part, the conference. The subject matter is NASA this year. And then, so it all takes place right there. So that's nice too. You go for the conference, stay for the game. Food is there. And cost for students, when I talked with Anthony, it was going to be roughly $20 to $25. And then we have, some availability to, of course, assist students that that might be a hardship for. We've parking was hard last time. Actually, believe it or not, parking extended vans in Boston, not easy. They will not let you in the garages. So we have it sort of preset. Will we be parking at a facility? So I think a nice opportunity for our students to get 2 for 1 in that day. Some educational pieces, and I think we have our chaperones, Robbie. But so both vans, so it could be up to, I think it was around 20. Yep, but it could be up to 22. But that's
Max.
a tight squeeze for that length ride.
Do you actually have a suite?
Oh, a suite. I don't think they get a suite now. They have the conference and then get regular seats.
But $20 or $25 is not a whole lot. That's
Yeah,
great.
no,
It's a
it's
great
good.
deal to go to a Red Sox game.
Why would you want a suite? You could be in the action.
Yeah.
What time's the game?
Well, it's probably 1 o'clock, huh? I would think.
Yeah, so it's all morning for the STEM stuff, and then it's a 1 o'clock game. So then they also it's kind of nice because they're also not getting home that late. The Bruins game when students won was great, but it was a late night, and I had said you better be at school, and they were. So.
Any other questions or discussion? All right, hearing none, I'll call for the vote. All those in favor? It's unanimous.
Thanks, John.
Thanks, John. Have fun.
Appreciate it.
Tell them to have fun.
Right.
Yeah, I didn't think you'd get to go.
Bye, John. Have a good night.
Good night. I have nothing for other business. We
We
did?
did, Robbie.
You voted.
That's all right. That's like when I asked Sam, did you do the assessments thing? She was like, yes, I just did it.
You voted to extend it. All right, so we did table Finance and Facilities Committee from last week. So, whatever you have to present.
I'll go with.
Oh, Robbie, you got to use your mic, buddy.
Oh,
That's okay.
I'll go with financials first. Year to date, we've received $14,746,230.36, which is 63.47% of anticipated revenue. Last year at this time, we were at 66.14, and so let's see. Okay, that's it. General expense fund year to date, we've expended $13,834,559.93 plus encumbrances, which is 60.54% of the budget. Last year we were at 61.12. Adult ed revenue year to date, we've received $71,391.75, 79% of the budget. Last year at this time we were at 78.91. Adult education expenses year to date, we've expended $54,463.17, which is 61% of the budget. Last year at this time we were 70.18. School nutrition. Year to date, we've received $512,619.69, which is 50.14%. Last year at this time, we were 55.69. Year to date, we've expended $622,717.73, which is 60.91% of the budget. That's it.
All right. Thanks, Robbie. And then CAI, I believe, right?
I wasn't there.
Diane was stuck on an airplane somewhere tropical, so I'll take one for the team. I had to look at the agenda because I couldn't remember. We had Principal Springer and Principal Stevens come in and talk to us and teach us all about Radar Connections at the high school and WIN, which stands for What I Need Time at the middle school. It was a really great discussion, and we learned a lot about how they're using those times to really kind of meet students where they're at, and there's a lot of flexibility in terms of being able to get work done or early intervention or tier 1 intervention depending on students, but also some opportunities for fun with the gym teachers and music teachers and art teachers pulling kids too. We talked a little bit about the Literacy Curriculum Review Committee work that's happening, and then talked about any budget questions that we may have for CAI and also any budget questions that we had for technology.
All right. Thank you, Christy. board member comments.
I just want to ask a quick question. Our data request, if we have any right now that we know of, does that come after comments, or should we?
You could probably do it right now. I was gonna give you homework during my
Oh,
board member comment, and it had to do with that. So you can go ahead. Go ahead, Sam will capture it.
I wanted to know. Is Brian Daniels addressed this? What he thought it was, but what if any middle school rec programs that we have in rec do other middle schools in our area have as their actual school sport? So, like the other schools, it sounded like lacrosse, field hockey. Sorry, field hockey was at the school versus rec. Are there any other of those similar situations? He thought that there weren't, but just to make sure.
Okay. Thank you, Teresa. You have any other ones or any other comments? Okay. Oh, another data
If
request.
that's what we're doing.
Sure. That's
Okay.
what I was going to give you homework, so you were going to
Okay.
have to get it to
I
Sam.
am wondering about required training for different departments. So, like I heard in the facilities and maintenance that there were required trainings needed for the position. So I'd love to kind of see a breakdown of that by cost center. So if there's like things that are non-negotiable that they have to have, so we're in compliance, so we can have a good baseline, that would be helpful.
Thanks, Christine. Go ahead, Robbie.
Yeah, I want to say that I'd like to congratulate the staff on the fine job they did presenting the budget and going over it line by line with all of us so we can understand it better. And I know we have a lot of new board members, but it was concise, it was precise, and it was very well done. Thank you.
Ditto. Thanks, Robbie. He's looking he's not saying that just to get a sticker. Anybody else?
I was just going to say thank you to all the staff for putting all this together and dealing with all the data requests as well. And I know it's a lot of work and long hours and all that, but thank you.
I'll just say the same thing. I mean, having gone through several budgets now, this one is by far the smoothest one that I've gone through. I mean, the information is clear, it's concise, it's easy to understand and digest. So thank you for your hard work.
Thanks, Scott. Go ahead, Doug.
Yeah, same thing. This was very smooth and well done budget by everybody involved. Thank you.
Thanks, Doug. Go ahead, Diane.
I would agree. This has been the smoothest one. For data requests, it would be interesting to have to see how many students participate in different extracurricular activities. Do we have that already?
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
If you Diane, if for some reason you can't locate it, let us know. Okay, happy to help
it's
you.
in the February 25th folder.
Okay. Thank you.
Sam has every folder memorized. She is. Yeah. Yeah, so, and we apologize if we're asking things that we've already asked that they're out there, because there are like 3 or 4 different folders out there just loaded with documents and data. So yeah, just echo the same sentiment. Thank you to everybody for all of your hard work, including each and every one of you. There have been very thoughtful questions and discussions. So I truly appreciate everybody's participation, even if, you know, you're still feeling lost. I know my face looks like deer in the headlights sometimes when, you know, we're going over numbers. Like, I don't math. Math is not my thing anymore. But I can't let you off the hook just yet. I do want to say homework, right? We needed, if we're going to push to a 4/29 public vote meeting at Oak Hill High School, then we can add the 4/1. But I would request that you provide all final data requests to Sam, Marco, or I mean, you can include me, but you're better off just going straight to Sam and Marco, not me. And what's the date? Give me a drop dead date, Sam. I don't want to. You want to say like do tomorrow? And it's going to really depend on what you're asking for. So if you guys want these data requests for next week's meeting, Friday would have to be, and then Sam would have to work her magic to see if she could even accommodate that. But we'll put the 4-1 on. We'll still put 4-1 on, and if we don't show, we don't. If we cancel, we can cancel. It's going to be a workshop, right, or a special. We'll figure that out.
Can we see the middle school field hockey added into the budget? Can we have a comparison for the next meeting of what the cost center would look like with field hockey added versus what it is now?
And the overall budget. That was
Yep.
going to be my next thing.
Okay.
Oh, you're perfect.
And
the
then I'm
homework was
also-
going to be, what do you want them to add or take away,
Yeah.
right? Because I mentioned that I was going to give you guys that for homework.
Just so we can see that comparison. Also, we did have some teachers multiple times come and talk about teacher lines that were cut. So I think it would be interesting to kind of see what those cost centers would look like with those positions potentially back.
So I was going to say, go over all of your materials if you can, or give Sam or Marco a call if that's easier than trying to go through all the materials, right? What have we talked about? What has been proposed to be taken out? What do people want put back in? What is new that people want put in? What is different that they want? And then let's get Marco and Sam that final request so that we have those comparisons for 325. And possibly that may have to spill over to 4-1 depending on how many different scenarios you present. So get those to Sam and Marco by Friday, or give them a call and say.
And if you didn't hear, that was the interventionists
Interventionists
that they
at
brought
Oak
up. Yeah,
High
so,
School.
yeah.
Yep, there's a couple of different things that we've talked about over the past few weeks. So make sure you get that in. Go ahead, Matt.
Would it be appropriate to hear on those 4 positions what the impact would be removing those, I guess, or learning, I guess also learning more about the positions themselves?
Yeah, Matt, I'm trying to think like that information, some of that information, and maybe it's more cursory than anything else, would be, included in the budget summary sheets that were put together and are in the folders. It's more about like, the principal's perception of the impact, you know what I mean, to those positions. So you're talking about the high school, middle school, and Libby Tozier. No, not Carrie Ricker. And then, we have a data specialist here. That's the one that's here. There's 4 positions. Yep.
So I guess, like, is there slack that's going to have to be picked up? Who would it be?
Yeah, I mean, I could help. I can get that information if that's helpful. Do you know what I mean? Like a summary of those. That's.
I mean, it's kind of hard to say. Yeah, sure, go ahead and I guess I don't really know that much about the 4 positions.
Sure. I mean, I'm happy to like tease that out for you to let you know like these are the positions. This is what they do for work, that kind of stuff, and like, I guess the potential impact that's there.
To
Put
other
it together.
employees.
That's no issue, Matt.
I mean, ultimately, it's it's your decision. So, but
I got you, bud.
I mean, is there opportunity to move some of them into open? Anything that might be open? I'm sure we looked at that.
Yeah, I mean, we have Scott, and there, we are repurposing some positions that would be, open. But I mean, we don't have a lot that's open. Do you know what I mean? Like, especially with those specific positions per se.
Yep. That's a good thing, I guess. Not have
It is.
and I'd like to add too. I mean, when we received the petition with over 100 signatures for field hockey. I mean, we see how many people show up to board meetings and public budget meetings. I mean, 100 is significant when you compare, public participation from what we're used to. It's definitely something we need to at least. I think it should be added in and offered to the public and let them decide at the budget meeting whether or not that goes through. But that's kind of my thought on it. Yeah, we need to really take that seriously. That's a lot of signatures on a petition.
Yep, so we'll get that in a
Oh,
comparison.
and one other thing: there are data requests that are still open that you're working on, correct?
Yes.
The transportation, outside transportation.
Yeah, so as I noted when that data request came in, that's a very big request. I'm
Yep.
not, I don't anticipate having that done prior to your deliberations, and maybe it was my misunderstanding. I thought the conversation at the board about that was like future planning and thinking about it long term. So like we
Gotcha.
put it on the burner of we want to start working on this. It's a long term process, but like for a forward thinking, possible alternative in future years.
Yeah,
That
I
it
feel
wouldn't.
like I don't need to know like a lot about it, but it would be nice just to have some general drivers and that sort of stuff. Just some basic knowledge.
Appreciate that. Sure.
Yeah, we can definitely pare that down if we need to.
Yeah. Thanks, Matt.
The request. Yeah.
All right. We have our future meetings listed. We're going to add forward one without objection. The meeting is adjourned at 9:22.